wings report in.
Red 10 standing by.
Red 7 standing by.
Red 3 standing by.
Red 6 standing by.
Red 9 standing by.
Red 2 standing by.
Red 11 standing by.
Red 5 standing by.
I hate being right all the time. I hate being right. I called it. Biden's out. I'm going to make another prediction right now, right at the very beginning here. Kamala Harris is not going to be she's not going to get the green light. Louder. You need it louder? There you go. You don't need it louder. I'm telling you, it's going to be Gavin Newsom. I guarantee it. Gavin Newsom will be the go-ahead. They're already floating it out. Keep seeing it. Oh boy, have I got a show for you today. Yes, yesterday was my anniversary. July 20th, 28 years. I even put up a picture of myself and my wife yesterday. You can believe that.
Oh, shit.
I know. Oh boy. But first, let us get on to things. Okay, now let's see if you can do this, Kyle. Pull the banner, pull the top of it.
Yeah.
There we go. Today we're in the trust nest. Wait, not that one.
This is a day in the life of being friend zoned. The first thing I do is pick up my best friend from last night's sleepover. I always make sure to have her coffee ready. I know her order by heart. She then tells me every detail about last night. I had no idea she was so flexible. Around noon, I take Kristen out for lunch. I always make sure to pay. It's only a matter of time before she sees me as a romantic option. After that, we go shopping. Today, she's letting me hold her purse. Soon, it'll be her hand in marriage. Then, it's best event time.
Ugh, I'm letting these guys have their way with me and they can't even text me back.
Guys can be such a-holes sometimes.
I just want to find a nice guy.
You know, sometimes the treasure you're looking for is buried in your own backyard.
Thanks, bestie.
Around 4 p.m., Kristen breadcrumbs me with some light physical affection to keep me hooked for a few more months. Afterwards, I drop Kristen off at the bar. I stay sober so she can drink. While I wait in the car for her to get done having fun, I help do some of her work so she can get ahead for the next day. Later on, Kristen's finally finished partying. She said she met a new friend, Chad. I don't really like Chad. I drop the two of them off at Chad's penthouse. I wave goodbye and get ready to do the same thing again tomorrow. And that's my day.
Don't be ideal.
Men sometimes so aggressive in my DMs.
It's because these men don't listen to death metal. Death metal calms the mind. Death metal is one of the best subgenres of metal of all time.
Say to me, they're like, Becky, you're picking the wrong guys. You keep choosing the wrong guys. And I sit down and I think, how do I keep doing this? Like, why? Here's the thing. You're not picking the wrong guys. I'm not a complete crazy person. If these people showed me how they are from the beginning, I wouldn't date them. The thing is, and this can go for men or women. I know girls who've done this to guys. These people put on a personality to be what you want them to be. And then time passes and it comes out that's not who they are at all. They're actually the complete opposite. And they just spent the past 6 months to a year faking their whole personality. That's my fault. Am I supposed to be a mind reader?
I think the point that men are trying to make is that you're not picking good, healthy, uninteresting guys that you can build with. Instead, you probably want the toxic, fun, interesting guys. The sad part is that the best guys are the ones that have either checked out or are not given a chance by anyone.
God. Wait. I gotta do that again. Hey! Do you know why you're picking the wrongest guy? All right, wait. This one's...
Feel the need to start an argument anytime your partner goes out with his friends or travels. I don't try to start a fight. Then why do you have a pattern of doing it? Well, because I'm not physically with him. I don't know what he's doing, who he's talking to, how much fun he's having. I get all this anxiety and then I get mad at him for making me feel this way. Well, has he ever given you a reason to not trust him? Not exactly. So why do you get anxious about how much fun he's having or who he's talking to? Because I'm afraid he'll realize that he has a lot more fun when I'm not around, and that he's better off without me, or that he'll meet someone that's, I don't know, warm and understanding and just the complete opposite of me. I see. You get anxious when he's out because if he goes out, he might realize that he doesn't need you to be happy. And if he realizes that, then he might leave. You feel threatened by his freedom, so you start fights in order to discourage him from going out again, because in a way it feels like he's abandoning you by having a happy life outside of you. And your tantrums are a form of control, and control comes from insecurity. And the reason you resort to control is because part of you doesn't trust or believe that he would just simply choose to be with you. And part of you knows why. You know that you aren't warm and understanding towards him. So he's not making you feel this way. You feel this way because part of you knows that you aren't giving him what he needs in the relationship, and you're afraid that he'll realize that.
In other words, you're a cold bitch.
What does a silent husband mean in a marriage?
The silent husband is a man who is living a life of quiet desperation. He's become so used to his expectations not being met, to not receiving appreciation in the relationship, that he has made this passive agreement with himself, with his partner. He's not even expecting to feel connected, to feel fulfilled, or even happy in the relationship. He's decided that he's just going to do his duty and get through each day. That leaves a man in a position where he is not going to be able to be who he could be. Not only is that devastating for his children and his wife, it's devastating for him on an individual level. He's going to live a life of regret, looking back knowing that he did not do the things he could have done because he allowed himself to lose his inner power, to lose his mojo because of how he was being treated in the relationship. And if you're in this situation and you want to learn how to fix it and live a better life and have a more connected relationship,
don't follow this guy.
50% of divorces that happen over 40 are initiated by women. Okay, why is that? Well, as she loses these hormones, there are so many brain changes that are happening. And because she doesn't understand herself, she thinks it's your problem. She thinks it's her teenage kid's problems. She thinks it's her aging parents' problem. She thinks it's work's problem. She doesn't go, oh, okay, wait, I've got some neurochemical changes going on in my brain that I need to make sure that my lifestyle supports. Since that conversation isn't open, she turns on everybody else. For years, I had so many women that came into my clinic and they said, whatever you do, please help me stay out of my doctor's office. And I was like, why? Because they don't understand me. And when they don't understand me, all they do is give me an antidepressant. And I feel so lost in what I'm supposed to do to help my own brain health, help my own body health. And we start dishing out supplements and prescriptions when there's a lifestyle that women are working against.
I'm going to hang on to that one and come back to that. That's too good.
Have found that I think men are more likely to have bizarrely unrealistic expectations. I have so many girlfriends who are highly accomplished, highly educated, great people, and just wonderful women. And the dating pool is absolutely brutal for them.
What are these men looking for?
It is entirely unclear to me that it's like, why are their men not jumping to want to date them? So,
well, Alicia, those are not bizarre and unrealistic expectations, because reality is that ultimately men want to build a family, okay? And most men don't want to be with an accomplished and educated woman because those women are entitled, demanding, and a pain to deal with. Even different studies would tell you that that's the case. So most of your accomplished and educated friends are very likely to end up with a cat instead of a family, just like Whoopi.
Like Whoopi.
I was married for 10 years. I got married young.
Here we go.
21. Already had a baby. He was 8 weeks old at our wedding. I remember feeling like my marriage was temporary from the beginning. And here we are 10 years later going through a divorce. He didn't really start this process. I guess it was more so me, because I was always looking for someone else because I didn't know how to be loved or how to accept love from somebody. And so while he was
No, bitch, you were in your epiphany phase. That's how it happened.
fighting for me, I was pushing him away. I left the good guy. I left the guy that everybody looks at and is like, that's a dad. That's a husband. That's how it's supposed to be. He did the dishes.
100% guarantee that this man is much, much better off, homie. Seeing these videos, man, there's more and more of them every single day, man. I'm watching these fucking women out here that, you know, oh, I left a good man. I didn't want to be with him anymore. He was such a good dad, but I want somebody else. Homie, one of the most important decisions you're ever going to make as a man is the woman that you pick and choose to be with. And I know there's so many men out here just not taking this shit seriously enough, like my videos. They're here for a reason, homie. I'm trying to teach you guys because, girl, the person that you choose to be with, homie, she can make or break you, man. You know, this is one life. You spend 10 years with the wrong woman, your life's done. I mean, you have a child with that chick, your life's fucking over. And I'm telling you, 18 years of child support, fucking you have to deal with this chick the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's not 18. It's you're dealing with it forever.
It's one of the most important decisions you're ever going to make as a man, is the woman that you choose to be with. Take that shit to your head, man. This man's better off. Hopefully he was.
Yeah. All right, last but not. Oh, geez, man. Hey, welcome to the new studio. What do you think, man? This is awesome. Hey, Kyle, the lighting in here is like fucking tits today, man. This is awesome. I love it, man. God damn. Oh boy, God, I didn't even know where to start. It's funny. It's like whenever I take time off, whenever I'm like, so I on Friday, I just decided, me and the wife were going to go up to Mount Charleston.
Oh, okay.
And we stayed at the lodge up there, and it was good. It was fun. There was a craft fair that was going on up there, and we just took one day off, and we brought the dogs with us too. So the dogs it's actually a dog friendly place. So I went up there. 28 years, and so I figured, you know what, maybe I'm going to do my annual relationship show, because I'm getting a little bit sick of bullshit like this. Let's see, where'd it go? Oh, here we go. Oh, Alexander, your favorite date psych chin bun here has decided, this is a while back, I've had this for a while. It's remarkable that in all the Manosphere discourse on topics like divorce, individual differences have not been incorporated much at all. No, Alexander, you just simply don't know well enough. A lot on body count being predicted because, of course, this overlaps with strong emotions, jealousy, retroactive comparisons with past sexual partners, or feelings of disgust. Yeah, well, it's also predictive of, marital happiness. Let's see, what else? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, divorce as well. But I mean, it's funny. You can't talk about these things without people suddenly thinking that you have some sort of emotional investment in them. But almost nothing about how marrying a smart man or woman will have your risk of divorce. Well, guess what? 28 years later, motherfucker. I hate to, I don't like to flex my marriage. I've not wanted to do that for quite some time. People always ask me this too, and I feel like it's kind of incumbent upon me to sort of start the show about relationships and about marriage and stuff like that. Whenever I talk about marriage, it's usually from the perspective of people think I'm negative. They think I'm down on it, right? And for not unreasonable reasons, right? But I think that you can't have a conversation about marriage in any critical sense without anyone thinking that you're down on marriage, right? And as I've said before, I'll say it one more time. I'm not against marriage. I'm against the way we do it now. I think it's been the bedrock of Western society. It's been the cornerstone of Western society. Monogamous, socially enforced, one man, one woman, heterosexual marriage has been the bedrock of the Western culture for a very long time now. So I think it would be foolish to say that that doesn't have any merit. I'm just saying that the way we do it now, really since the sexual in a post-sexual revolution society, it is one of the worst decisions that a guy can make for himself right now, because it is an all downside risk for guys. I'll come back to that one more time later on. I've said this, God knows how many times, but like everybody always thinks I'm so down on marriage. And so I'm like, well, I've been married for 28 years. I have a child. I have a daughter who is 26 years old, and she is coming up on her first wedding anniversary, which is going to be in August. And so I gave away my daughter's hand in marriage to my son-in-law now for about almost coming up on a year now. So obviously I am not against marriage, but I'll tell you what's funny is I put one tweet up, and I'm going to show you this tweet here in just a second. I put one single, and I do this every year. I don't, you don't know this, Kyle. Maybe you do know this. I put up one tweet every single year, and it usually goes something like, where did I put it? God, this was pretty good too. I put up one tweet. And here it is. Okay, hold on a second. Let me share the screen with you. Now, I'm going to show you a picture of my wife here. So, because people don't really, does he even have a wife? What's wrong with him? He's not really married, is he? No, I'm married. I've been married for 28 years. And I'll tell you what's funny is, like, I can remember back in as far back as like 2017, 2018, and just taking so much shit from guys like, I don't know, Andrew Tate
and Tristan Tate and all the rest of these guys who suddenly reveal that they have secret children and have been married or like have some sort of common law marriage. I don't even know what. And now they're using that as a flex. I remember guys saying, "Oh, Rollo doesn't have any receipts. I mean, Rollo Tomassi don't get no hoes, man." Right? Like, where? Show me some hoes, Rollo Tomassi pool. Right? I'm like, okay, fine. Well, but the thing is that used to be receipts that if you live like Dan Bilzerian, those were receipts. Now, if you live like Gavin Newsom, now if you live like you have, you've been married for ages, now suddenly that's a flex. Isn't it interesting how shit changes? And by the way, by the time we get back to 2025, once we're out of the election cycle, we'll probably go back to that. I'll probably get criticized for being married. And you don't listen to what Rollo says. He's been married. He doesn't know. He's out of the game. Right? Guaranteed. As I say, there's no way I can possibly win. So let's go check this out. I put this up yesterday, as a matter of fact, 7:53 a.m., July 20th, 2024. There is 130,000 views on this tweet right now. Okay, so I soft launched with me and my wife here. So there you can see my Mrs. Tomassi is in the house. So I actually threw something down there so people could see what she looks like. Because people, I was gonna do a soft launch, like where you do one of these things. I was gonna do a soft launch or something like that, but I decided to go all the way. Now, here's the thing. Is if we look through here, like Rachel Wilson, happy anniversary. George Bruno, hey, in case you missed it, this is your opportunity to say congratulations, blah, blah, blah. Ryan Stone, the face when your wife cleans up dog shit and you stay together forever. Thank you. I love you too, Ryan. Gia McCool, happy anniversary. Zuby, who has met my wife in person the last time he was out here. Happy anniversary, bro. Is she your best friend? I know he's joking. I said, no, Ned is my best friend. Bait, okay. But how come you tell men not to get married? There it is. There's the first one. Okay. Now there are how many 160 responses to this. And this is a one sentence tweet. And everybody thinks I'm trolling whenever I do these. Right. Good for you, Rollo. Happy hill, long life, blah, blah, blah. Congrats. No, beta thing to say. Now commendable. See? That's called a major win. Base, congratulations. Still maintaining the frame. Yes. The king of the red pill fell in love, married for 28 years. Who would have thought? Okay. Happy anniversary, blah, blah, blah. Let's keep going. I hearted all these ones that everybody likes. So congratulations. Oh, this is a good one. Aren't you divorced now? She left you.
What?
What? Wait a minute. What?
When?
You did see this shot back here, did you not? I love how I catch strays, right? I catch all this shit from these people. Congratulations, congrats. Most of this is like pretty good. Beta simp cuck, that's me. Yep. Sorry guys, I'm actually now a beta simp cuck for having put this up. Simp, yes. Fuck yeah, yay. Did your wife make you post this? No, dude. I post this every fucking year so I can provoke guys like you. Oh, I guess I'm gay now as well.
Okay.
And yes, this is true. Married longer than everyone at the Daily Wire. Yeah. And still call me up, guys. Hi, Matt Walsh. Hi, Ben Shapiro. Hi. Well, Candace is not there anymore, but who cares? She's not there anymore mentally. Let's see. This is pretty good. Keep going. Congrats. Living your life by the principles of the rational male in a marriage will give you long and happy marriage. Yes. If your wife doesn't fall into your frame, you will struggle and be potentially miserable. My marriage is awesome. Thanks for all the knowledge. Rollo. Wow. It almost seems as if Rollo has talked about marriage in the past and people have applied red pill awareness and red pill principles to, I don't know, improve their fucking marriages. Imagine that. My God. If only somebody had some sort of running knowledge of the past 22 years of my work, maybe they wouldn't be so confidently ignorant. Rollo doesn't say he's still married. You guys go too quickly. My guess is that this is the anniversary of the beginning of his red pill journey. No, dude. I'm actually married. Thank you very much for 28 years. Beginner's luck. Well, okay. All right, I'll allow it. 28 years ago was 1996, and the following year, LA Confidential was released in theaters. Yep. Ed Exley made up a guy in his head that always got away with it. His name was Rollo Tomassi. Wow, somebody actually knows where I got the name from.
Wow.
In case you didn't know, I didn't. This is not my real name. Although after watching Vikings, I kind of want to change my name to just Rollo. No, Tomassi, just Rollo. I'd be all right with that. Except I'm a Dane and he was really Norwegian. What happened? Because love is an illusion. Yeah. Well, we can talk about that. Oh, look, the reason is why I have a deep respect for George Miller. Wow. Guess what? That's my real name. You got me. And I love it when people do that. Like they go, do you know his real name? His real name is George Miller. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. I'm gonna delete all my books now. I'm gonna close shop. You got me. Sorry. I'm
arrested.
Yeah, take me out, sir. Yes. Like that's the thing that gets me is like I think of I got him. I'm like, you realize that like you're like Ryan Stone, that's not his real name. You know that. Myron Gaines. Nobody does that. Hey, I know what his real name is. He better quit now. Fresh Prince CEO. That's not his real name. Fresh. Sorry, you're gonna have to leave, Walt. You're out. Get out of the pool. Rollo and his trad era. No, but I think that's funny because like people automatically think that I'm like suddenly turned into a trad, and I'll tell you why. Which is really really funny here. Congrats, that ain't easy. She's not yours. It's just your 28-year-long run. Thank you. Yes, it is actually. Congratulations, Rollo. Yada yada. There's some other ones here that are pretty. Yeah, this is a bait. This is a bait. This is a bait post. Yes, actually, it kind of is. I will admit it is kind of a bait post. It's almost always a bait post. It's only a bait post because you guys like take the bait so easily. Yeah. Let's see. A good life and showing your daughter how it's done. Yes. Thank you. Congrats. Gosh, there's 160 of these things. Uncle Rollo, there is no one. That's right. Happy anniversary. Got it. Okay. Congrats. It's a tarp. No, it's a trap, ass hat. It's a tarp. Although maybe he meant to do that. That's pretty funny. I want to throw these up here. I'm B at 32. Congrats. I'm B. Okay. Wholesome. Yes. Wholesome. Thank you. Yes. This guy. Wholesome. I got it. Oh, yes. Alpha fucks, beta marries. Well, okay. We're going to talk about that a little bit here too. And I realize this is, I love it when guys come at me for was he changing? The tiger's changing his stripes. Rollo said not to get married and now he's being, I love this here. Simp. Yes, I'm a simp. Sure. Continue. Congratulations. Blah, 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 blah. This is pretty funny. There you go. See, everybody gives me, I think it's more positive than negative, except for apparently I am gay twice over. I think you have me confused with Aaron Clary. Aaron's gonna come back he's gonna come back to Vegas and we're gonna be like, I'm sorry we called you gay the whole time. All right, that's good enough. I wanted to show you guys that stuff. I've got another really funny funny Twitter story for you guys as well, but I always throw those out there because what happens is people automatically think that like I don't think enough people really realize how much we actually do talk about healthy relationships well, not just the rational male, but like just in the manosphere proper as it is. So in fact, I think one of the biggest misperceptions, let's say, of the red pill is that it's only to get your dick wet, right? It's only so you can get more, it's to rack your notch count up because guys always measure their self-esteem by how many chicks they've nailed. And it's like, there's nothing could be fucking further from the truth because really what the red pill is about education. It's about education and equipping, and it's about actionable information. It's about you using it to your own betterment, right? I would hope for your own betterment, right? As I've said before, I mean, the analogy is always this, is that the red pill is like fire, okay? It's, you can use it to cook your food and warm your home, or you can use it to set yourself on fire and burn down the neighborhood and burn down your neighbor's house, right? It's all in the use of how you do it, okay? So I think when people want to throw the notion that the red pill is a movement or it's an ideology or it's a belief set or it's, this is what those guys believe. This is their philosophy. It's like, there's no red pill philosophy. There's applications of it that sound like philosophy because a lot of people will take it and put it into practice. So when I talk about like MGTOW, or we talk about the black pill, or you talk about the white pill, or you talk about really a lot of people have done exactly what I said they were going to do, which is appropriate the red pill to sort of mean whatever it is they're, to reinforce, let's just say, their pet ideologies. And really in an election cycle, what is that? Oh, it's right-wing ideologies. And so everyone wants to conflate the red pill with right-wing stuff, or they want to conflate it with Andrew Tate. Oh, and by the way, so I don't know who's running the Tate's account right now on Twitter, because I don't think it's them, because they wouldn't make such a stupid error like they did just recently. It was on, I believe it was on Tristan Tate's Twitter channel or Twitter feed, and he said something to the effect that nobody was talking about the Matrix before Andrew, and I'm like, excuse me. Okay. What? And it gave me a moment to go back and look through my old archives as far back as, in this case, it was as far back as 2006. Oh. And I went back through the old So Suave board forums. And occasionally I go to the So Suave forums just to lurk. I was a moderator. People don't know this. I was a moderator at the So Suave forum from really 2004 all the way up to about 2013, 2014, when I just didn't have time for it anymore because the book was starting to take off and everything else. But a lot of the stuff that you see in my book, that you see in my essays, a lot of the stuff that I've been writing about for, coming up on 23 years now, all originated from conversations about stuff like relationships, about stuff like, maybe how to get your dick wet too. That was part of the equation too. Some guys want to take the red pill and they just want to get laid because they're not getting laid. And you know what? If that's the way that they want to put it into best practice, then more power to you. Go right ahead, man. If you want to use the red pill to go and find your perfect little girlfriend or whatever, you want to like live a life of domestic bliss with 2.5 kids and a golden retriever in the front yard, be my guest. Go right ahead. Use it for that as well. It's all in the use. But like, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at Tristan trying to back. I know this isn't Tristan because does anybody like do their own Twitter account anymore besides me and maybe Ryan Stone and a few of the other guys from RAR Squad? Is there anybody that does it? Because I know Michaela Peterson tweets for her dad. Like even Jordan Peterson does not do his own tweets. Okay, you don't believe me? There's 4 different subs on Reddit that talk about this. She herself has said on multiple occasions, on multiple podcasts, that she is in control of really her father's media machine right now, and also has admitted to being the person who is doing the tweeting for her father. So if something sounds like out of character, like it recently has, like when Jordan Peterson was locking horns or butting heads with Nick Fuentes recently, it's like, no, that's Michaela Peterson locking horns with, not through her dad. Okay. She's basically been sock puppeting her dad for a long time. If you don't believe me, all you've got to do is just go to YouTube, search Michaela Peterson, and like look at what, and you can even just put in, takes over Twitter account for her dad or something like that. You'll find it. She has admitted to this like as far back as 3 years ago. So if it sounds out of character for Jordan Peterson, that's probably because it's actually Michaela that's doing it. And it gets kind of even sicker when she starts having these conversations with herself. Like she's tweeting for her dad and having this conversation back and forth with her quote unquote dad, when we know goddamn well it's not, it's her. But like I have recently been, and maybe this is me being stupid, I probably shouldn't even bother. I'm okay, mea culpa, but like if I go and I respond to like Chris Williamson does not run his own Twitter account. And I know damn well Tristan and Andrew Tate don't run their own Twitter accounts. So to have somebody on whoever is tweeting for Tristan Tate say, oh yeah, my brother came up with the Matrix, dude. So I went back as far as 2006. And I want to say it was like October of 2006. And I searched what my earliest mention of the Matrix was on So Suave. And it was early October of 2006. And I reposted that and I go, dude, I mean, you don't like, bro. I was just like, bro, bro. I feel like, what, John Travolta at Pulp Fiction. What? Yeah. But somebody's tweeting for these guys. And if it seems out of character, it's generally because it's become so easy to tweet, to have like AI do like Twitter storms for you, or to do essentially what you do is you start it on a Monday and you say, okay, copy AI or Chat GPT or whatever it is. Write me a Twitter storm of pertinent topics that are going on or went on last week or are going to go, possibly going to go on this week. It'll come up. It'll auto generate within 280 characters, right? Random tweets. And I'm fairly sure that guys like Chris Williamson are not tweeting these big, super long, thread of a tweet. And of course, the way you know that they're not actually doing it is because they never respond to it. I can be as critical as I possibly can to Chris Williamson. There'll never be a response to it. In fact, anybody, not even just me. So if you're going to have a Twitter account, I honestly, I think there should be some sort of disclaimer that says I'm tweeting and I'm probably not going to reply to you because it's not actually me. It's my PR firm that's actually doing the tweeting for me. So keep that in mind. But getting back to it today, I wanted to point out a few things here. Is I think that a lot of people really kind of mischaracterize the red pill as being sort of like this one-sided, myopic, one-dimensional ideology or whatever. And it's not an ideology. It's not a movement. It's not philosophy. It's not a belief set. It's just information, and how you use that information is really up to you. So when my anniversary rolls around, I've always been this way because I don't want people to think they can like replicate what it is that I have with my wife. So people always ask me, what's the secret to the success of your marriage, Rollo? You're not interested in the secret to the success of my marriage. You're interested in how you can get to a point where you can find a wife like my wife. You can get into a situation. I will tell you right now, the conditions and everything that led up to me getting married with my wife are not something that you're going to be able to replicate. Certainly not in this day and age. And that's not to say, oh, they're all worthless. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you couldn't find a good woman. You probably could, but you're not going to find my woman, if that makes any sense, right? You're not going to find Mrs. Tomassi. And I will tell you, today I'm going to go over exactly how that occurred, but I'm always loath to do this because I think a lot of people want to take notes. They're like, okay, well, he said this is what I have to do. I have to go to a club, and then I have to order a beer, and then I have to wait for the blonde to walk in, and then no, dude, that's not gonna. You're not going to be able to replicate that. I'm sorry to say. That's why I don't do lists. That's why I don't do step by step. You will never ever see Rollo Tomassi write a book or write even a series of tweets called 12 rules for a perfect marriage, right? How to get laid in 12 easy steps, right? How to find the girl of your dreams. I'm never going to write that book. It's never going to be 12 steps for life or whatever. 12 steps, 12 rules for life, 12 steps. It's not AA. I'm sorry. But you're never going to see me write that book. I will tell you how things went down, and I will tell you this right from the rip here is that my marriage would not have lasted as long as it has, and it would not be as intense and still like very much alive in a relationship form were it not for me being red pill aware. And that, I think, is probably, if you want something, a point of contention that's really going to rub people the wrong way, particularly tradcons, because tradcons are going to be the first ones to say, oh, we're living in this time of moral degeneracy and everything's going downhill. I strongly disagree. It's no more degenerate than it was in the 80s or the 90s or the 2000s. We do it differently. We're more aware of it because of social media and because of mass communication. But human nature is human nature, and it's been this way for a long time. So when the disco era was coming around, right after the sexual revolution, right, and all these people are going out and partying at Studio 54, you know what they were saying? Same thing they're saying right now. Oh, it's degenerate, though. The world's going to hell in a handbasket. Yeah, they've been saying that since really the late 60s. Oh, my God. Have you seen how short those short shorts are? Can you believe they're wearing mini dresses? Can you believe they're wearing bikinis on the beach? Holy fuck. Right? That's what they were saying in the mid 60s, right? Fucking clam bake with fucking Elvis Presley. Oh, my God. I can't believe they're wearing. We're all going to hell. Right? It's like fucking Footloose. You're going to start dancing. You know what happens after you start dancing, right? Yes. Yeah. Illegitimate children. Like, it's been this way for a long time. What about pornography, Rollo? There's been pornography since there's been photography. There's been pornography since they had like Renaissance period painters. And the reason why I know this, by the way, is because I have a degree. I have 2 degrees. One's in psychology. The other one is a bachelor's of fine art. And you have to do a lot of art history. And one thing that was impressed upon me when I was doing that section for my BFA was the fact that we only know about the masters. We only know about the very important artists that made history, right? What we don't know about is we don't know about the guys who were pretty good. They weren't like major leagues. They weren't A-listers. They were B-list like painters. And you know what they painted? Pussy. Titties. Because that's what the nobility and the aristocracy wanted back in the certainly the early to high Renaissance, right? Even Greco-Roman sculpture. There's a reason why they look the way they do. If you want to stroke one out, it's the David. Boy, that Michelangelo's a great guy. Yeah, exactly. But human beings are human beings. We want to get laid. We want to get off. Jesus Christ. Like, I don't see how it's so hard to fucking like wrap our heads around that. And the other thing that gets me is and I've said this before. I'm not the guy that's going to be, I'm not enjoy the decline guy. I leave that up to Aaron Clary. And I wouldn't fight him on this because I kind of understand the mentality, but I'm not enjoy the decline guy. I'm like the guy, I'm just like, hey, let's be optimistic about things, but let's be like cautiously optimistic. I'm a pragmatist before I'm anything. Like it's, plan for the best, or plan for the worst, hope for the best. That's that Rollo Tomassi philosophy. There you go. Maybe I am a philosopher. I'm a pragmatist, and I think other people ought to be too. And I don't think that emotionalism, like the conflict between empiricism and emotionalism, I can pretty much. You show me a social issue, and I will show you the conflict between empiricism and emotionalism. I guarantee you, I can find it. Tell me what feels good and what follow your heart, and it'll never fail you. No, it will. And if you make decisions for your life based on your emotions, you're going to be fucked. And you know who else is going to be fucked? Your kids are going to be fucked because you made a bad decision based on your emotions. You want to know why all these women are like, I was just showing all these videos of these chicks on these street videos, right? Where they go and they ask girls on the street and stuff. Or like that one girl who was talking about, how she ditched the good guy. I want to tell you something. That story of that guy, of the woman who got with the guy he was a good guy. Like, he was a good father of the kids. He wasn't exciting. He wasn't fun. He wasn't the alpha that she's been widowed from. But he was a good, solid dude. That's why I started off with the friend zone video first. But there's a reason for that. And it keeps repeating itself over and over and over again. There's a reason why average age of first marriage for women is 30 years old. It used to be even when I got started in this, it was like 27 or 28. Now it's 30. Now we've advanced it by 3 years. And the same for men as well. Now it's 32 for men on top of that. So yeah, I see this, and I see these patterns repeating themselves over and over and over again because it's human nature. It's not because of the Rockefellers like funding feminism. It's because people want to get off, man. And I'm not going to say that that businesses and very wealthy, affluent people haven't capitalized on social zeitgeists, right? Haven't capitalized on social movements. They have, absolutely, but they don't create those things. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of people who are like, especially conspiracy theorists, tradcons, love to think that it was the Rockefellers that created fucking feminism. No, they didn't. Feminism was around well before the Rockefellers were even on the scene, man. If you go all the way back to Seneca Falls in 1849, that's where I kind of like mark feminism becoming a real social movement, was back at the I forget the name, the Seneca Falls Convention is what it was. And that's where the suffragettes got started. And then, of course, they went from just say 1850 until 1920, which is when the 19th Amendment was ratified. So you're looking at 70 years. So the first 70 years is the suffragette years and everything. And that's really the beginning of feminism. And there ain't no fucking Rockefellers around in 1850 and maybe into the 1900s, perhaps. But it's not even, this isn't even a history lesson, because because the powers that be, whatever they are, I don't care who they are to you. The thing is none of that works unless human nature works. And no one gets married, and no one gets off, and no one has babies, and no one wants to have sex, no one wants to get their dick wet, and nobody wants to do pickup artistry, and nobody wants to do any of this stuff unless they're human beings that have those impulses and those drives. So when people say, oh, it's feminism that destroyed marriage, or feminism that destroyed women, you know, the good women that came prior to the sexual revolution, it's like, no, dude. They were just, your great grandmother was just as fucking horny as the chick that you just saw in the club. She just was not allowed to express it and contextualize it in the same way because I think times were different. But the impulse was there. The drives were still there. So when people say, oh, it's the Rockefellers, it's this, like, no, they just jumped on a social movement and because they knew that they could profit from it. What really killed marriage? It's not feminism. It was technology. Technology is what put us where we're at right now, put it that way. It gave us options we've never had before in the history of humanity. And have other interests capitalized on that? Yes, they have. But did they create it? No, they didn't. You know why? Because most of the time they're fast followers. They're not innovators. They're not people who go, I've got this plan, and here's how the plan is going to go out. And by the way, it's a 120-year plan. No, it's not, because times change, right? That's why I keep saying, like, when people tell me, like, Rollo, first wave feminism was good. It got the girlies the right to vote. I'm like, no, there's no such thing as waves of feminism. Let me repeat that. There's no such thing as a wave of feminism. The only reason we even refer to feminism in waves is because we want to qualify the suffragettes as being the good feminism. And then, God, you know what's funny is, like, when we talk about, like, first wave feminism, second wave, and third wave, right? Does anybody know what, like, the second wave of feminism was? Like, there's a suffragettes, and then there's supposed to be some sort of a, you know, ambiguous sort of foggy area between 1920 and 1965 when the third wave of feminism was supposed to come up, right? No, the feminism has been feminism since Seneca Falls all the way to where we are in 2024 right now. It's just been interrupted by war and civil unrest and the Bolsheviks and God knows whatever else in whatever country, right? And by the way, feminism as a movement, you want to talk about a movement? That's a real movement. It's been the same thing since then in the United States, in the UK, and wherever else you want it to be, right? That's why it's like, I think when we talk about, like, feminism in the domestic sense in the United States, we export it. We've been exporting it for a long time, and it became that much more easy to do so because of technology, because of mass communication, because of TV, because of the internet, because of pornography, right? Because of there's so many different technologies that have all contributed to the downfall and the decline of what we would like to think of as some sort of idealized form of monogamous marriage that we want to believe that grandma and grandpa had in the greatest generation, right? As soon as they got back from World War II, that's when the baby boom happened, because those were just good people. And they probably were good people, but they were people just like you and me. So the first place we have to start when it comes to understanding how relationships work in a red pill sense is understanding the humanity behind those people. Women want to fuck. Men want to fuck. Okay. Once we get past that, everything else is easy to qualify. So the first thing people ask me is, say, Rollo, what's the secret to a successful marriage? Stay in shape and fuck a lot. And once you're done with those, and once you get past that basic truth, now we can move on to, well, what do you look for in a woman? What is this? Blah, blah, blah. Now we're looking into other things, because if you don't have basic, genuine desire, you end up just like the husband of that woman in that one video who said, I had a great guy, but I left him. Why? There's no fucking desire. When you have a couple that where you have the guy cheats or the woman cheats, right? And they're trying to patch it up in marriage counseling or some shit like that. It's not an issue of rebuilding trust. It's an issue of rebuilding desire. You need to have basic, genuine, 100% desire. So if you want to know one of the foundations of my good fucking marriage that is red pill aware, it's genuine desire. My wife has genuine desire for me. I have genuine desire for my wife. Simple as that. It's like it's the Eva Mendes, I'm Ryan Gosling. She's Eva Mendes. She wants to have this guy's babies. Okay. That's fucking awesome. How many, I was going to say this, and I hate anything I say about this always seems like a fucking flex. Like, you did it right. It was different back then, Rollo. It's easier for you guys. No, it was fucking way harder, man. We did not have this. When I met my wife, this did not exist. I was talking on a phone that was wired to the fucking wall. That didn't happen. You had to go out and do it, man. You had to do it. It was analog. There was no digital. There was no red pill. There was no Twitter. There was no fucking Tinder. There was no Instagram. You had to go out and understand the local sexual marketplace. And that was some hard ass shit back then, because if you didn't figure that out and you didn't do it within a reasonable, frame of time, yeah, you're probably an incel today, a Gen X incel. Yeah. All right. Let me get to some of these real quick here. Rollo don't get no hoes. Happy anniversary. Thank you, Derek Nelson. I'll do my best to get more hoes. Hi, Rollo. I will. Hi, Rollo. I'm going to be in Vegas on the 25th to the 4th for MOA. I'd love to meet up with you and say thanks for getting me started on this journey. No problem, Josh. In fact, I'll just, since you brought up the 25th, which is next week. Yep. Next Thursday, right in this very studio. Thank you, Ed McMahon. And right live here on our studio, we're going to have Sterling Cooper is going to be here right at this table. Right, his nasty ass will probably be sitting in this seat right here. No, Sterling Cooper is like one of my best friends, and I don't think enough people really realize that. Like, whenever I do like an interview with Kiyosaki, people are like, I didn't know he knew Kiyosaki. I'm like, bitch, I've known him for like 4 years. I helped him through his divorce, for Christ's sake. And I love it when we get together and like, wow, they're really talking like they're old friends. Like, yeah, because, right? Or if I'm talking to, James Sexton, right? I've known James for quite some time, right? Yeah. How did he get him on the show? He was just on Lex Friedman. I'm like, because I knew him before, right? Or Sterling Cooper's another one. Now, Sterling's going to be an interesting, I kind of want to give you a little bit of build up for Thursday's show. Sterling's going to be an interesting show because Sterling is kind of like taking a new tack. You want to talk about a guy who's sort of like, I don't say pivoted. He hasn't pivoted 180. Maybe he's gone like 45 degrees because he's very anti-porn right now. And if you know anything about Sterling Cooper, he worked in the industry. He was a male porn star for 8 years, I want to say. Good looking dude, and no homo. Maybe a little. No, no, he's a good looking guy. Got that. Once he lays that Australian accent on you, it's all over. I've seen him pick up women. It is you want to talk about a guy who's got an easy time. I always talk about Justin Waller. Justin Waller has a chicks come up and open him, but like Sterling is a master of opening. But he's going to be on the show, and my original intent was to get Sterling on here with Domo, who works in the adult industry. Let's just say Domo. I wanted to get Milana Ricci if she can come back, although I think she might be out of town. Who is my favorite lesbian. Anyways, all the girls that we've had on the show who are porn stars or ex-porn stars, Tiffany Fox or Pacino. What, Tiffany, why Pacino? I guess Tiffany Fox's new name is now Tiffany Pacino because she's decided that she's going to get back into the industry. So take that however you want to. But she'll be here. And I love Tiffany like a sister. So, but we through Access Vegas, we know a lot of women who work in the industry. We know a lot of guys that work in the industry. And I don't necessarily have a problem bringing them on and having good substance and conversations with them. So I think a lot of people think, oh, you only have porn stars and you only have FHM models. Yeah. And you only have centerfolds and penthouse pets. And and they're all models, and you have Corey Yee, who's probably like the hottest woman on planet Earth. And what is the problem? But I also want to point out that Mike and I are taking a new tact with probably about half of our shows. We're no longer just going to be about like just doing nothing but like porn stars and FHM models and bikini models and everything. I mean, and not that we don't love those women to death, and we will still have those women on our show, but we're going to start focusing on women who are like who are absolutely stunning girls, but who have their own businesses, who are entrepreneurs, like actually own a business. And I don't mean like a gourmet, like cupcake kiosk at the mall. But we're gonna focus a little bit more on substantive, constructive conversations as opposed to trying to be a little as salacious as say, oh, I don't know, like whatever podcast. Now we're not pivoting out of the genre. We're just refocusing on different women, because I think the number one complaint we get on Access Vegas is those girls aren't real. I'm like, well, the real girls are the girls you're going to see at Las Vegas Airport, and they look like beach balls. Okay, the average woman in the United States is 170 pounds, and she's about 5'4". That is a beach ball. You don't want a beach ball on this show. You want some good looking, women who can hold a conversation. And I think that that's probably even more threatening to guys than it is to have some like basic whore on, some whores, some Zerka whores. But anyways, well, I'd love to have you on, Josh. You can, if you want to come and hang out in the studio, you are more than welcome. Thank you. Red One Studios. Some content creator said you were separated. Yeah, I think I put that up there. Okay, let me clarify a few things for you here. This is rumor control. Here are the facts. No, I have been married, actually been married for 28 years. I have been with my wife 29 and a half-ish. So I've been with my wife almost 30 years. I have a body count of 42. But I always feel like I have to revise that now because the CDC said that blowjobs count as being.
Oh, shit.
I know. And I'm like, geez, now I'm going to have to like rack my brain and think of what my actual body count is. But I mean, in the biblical sense, 40, 41, 42, somewhere in there. So that's that. I am not estranged from my daughter. She loves me to death. In fact, the first thing she said on our anniversary is, I love my parents so much. But I love my girl too. I love my daughter. My daughter is 26 years old. She's married and was a very spendy wedding. And if you would like me to tell you in private just how spendy, I'll be happy to do that. Because I paid for 90% of it. Yeah. But no, I have been married for 28 years as of yesterday. I have 2 dogs. What else would you like to know? We had really great, I'm going to tell you right now, we had really great sex yesterday. It was awesome. Probably will tonight too. I kind of wanted to see if I can get a repeat, but yeah. And as I said before, if you want to know the basics, here's the basic secrets to a successful marriage is stay in shape. Seriously. And I hate to go all Aaron Clary on you because Aaron, this will be the first thing Aaron says. Like, there's so many people and so many Americans are fat. And he's right. They are. It's, 75% of the US population is overweight. 35% of men are morbidly obese and 40% of women are morbidly obese, according to CDC stats as of 2021, 2022, somewhere around there. The last time I checked, that's what they were at. They might be different now. Sorry, but I'm just quoting what I remember.
Technically, I'm obese.
You are. Well, yeah. But you have me.
But I work out.
Yeah, you do. I work out. But see, here's, what I think that when it comes to physique, and I don't think I've talked about looks in a long time. When it comes to physique, or the physical or looks, there used to be a time, and this by the way, because this comes in cycles, this will be probably something we'll be talking about in 2025 more, is like looks maxing, right? And there used to be a time where I used to lock horns with guys, I think 2018, 2019. It was the looks maxer era. And everybody was like, oh, it's all about looks, Rollo. It doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter about money. It doesn't matter about game. You guys are just, manipulating these poor incels and just filching their pockets because it's really just about looks and you can't change the way your face looks. And it's like, and then they came up with Jawzrsize. That, by the way, brilliant. Why did I not get involved? Why did I not get an affiliate marketing gig with Jawzrsize? But yeah, I don't think that anybody really would deny, and including myself, that looks are important. In fact, they might be the most important thing. It's not the only thing, but it is a very important, in some cases, maybe the most important thing. Okay. And I think that when we hear, and women will repeat this lie as well, but when I hear guys say, oh yeah, women don't focus so much primarily on looks. They're looking for other things. It's, more like esoteric stuff. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude. It's like, that might be the case for a long-term relationship, but not for a short-term relationship. Trust me on this one. Okay. So when I used to lock horns with the looks maxer guys, it was always, oh, you got to get in shape. You got to be 6 feet tall, and I'm gonna break my shins and like regrow them so I can get an extra inch or some shit like that. And I'm like, okay, well, yes, but I mean, do you need to go to those extremes? Probably not. Or you get like, what is it, short man's disease? Like, oh, if you're 5 foot nothing, then you better be jacked and look like a meatball. You better look like Gimli the dwarf. And I disagree with that, but you still have to be in shape. You still have to be, I work out with and hang out with guys like Hide Yamagishi, who is a Japanese American man. He is the IFBB Pro World Champion for last year, 2023. And I've interviewed him as well as his workout partner, and really good dude. There's another guy that I work out with, or I'm there at least when they're around, but Alvaro Pena. He is a competitive bodybuilder and is yoked as hell. And he's also a personal trainer, very good looking guy. I'm not ashamed to say that. I think the guy is actually, like when I see Alvaro, I'm like, that's what I want. That's what I want to look like, And I'm in pretty decent shape, especially at 56. I'm in pretty decent shape. I see Alvaro, I go, that's the goal. That's where I'm going. So whenever what was, the meme, which is like, if a woman sees a really hot chick, they go, I will never look like that. It's unrealistic beauty standards. And if a guy sees like another like really yoked guy, like I must work out, I must work out 7 days a week. And I must look like this guy. Right. And like that's the difference in attitude when it comes to physique. Right. But long story short is like a guy like Hide Yamagishi is shorter than I am. He's probably 5 foot. Have you seen Hide? You've seen Hide. Hide is like
with him.
Hide, I did it myself. Your brother's pretty damn tall. Your brother's taller than I am.
Yeah, he's 6'1", 6'2".
But Hide Yamagishi is probably 5'9".
He's like 5'9", 5'7".
5'9", 5'7", and he's the IFBB Pro World Champion and won it in Romania, by the way. So when it comes to height versus looking good and having a good attitude, like Hide could pull bitches. Trust me. If he wanted to pull bitches, he could definitely pull bitches. Okay. So yes, does it have to do with looks? Yes, looks are very, very important. It's something that I think that guys need to really understand. So when you hear somebody say, well, women aren't as focused on looks as guys are, that is comparatively true. By comparison, that is true. But in reality, women are just as physical and just as visual as guys are. They just don't vocalize it. Or men want to believe that, like, I love it. I still hear this today. And I can't even believe I still hear this, which is women are just as, or women are more sexual than men. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I said, until women are swimming in 12 to 17 times the amount of serum testosterone that they have in their bodies right now, they will never. It is a physical impossibility for a woman to be as horny and as into sex and want sex as much as a man. Sorry, not sorry. It's just simple physical, the biological realities here. Now, that said, are women more sexual than men want to give them credit for? Absolutely, they are. Yes. Yes. Are they more visual and they want a hot guy just as much as a guy wants a hot girl? Yes. Yes, they do. Are they going to talk about it with you? No, they're going to talk about it with their girlfriends. And if you ever have them, and Lord knows, I've been around, I'm around women constantly, whether it's on this show or it's at Babes in Toyland or it's at some event that we're doing, or if I'm even just like meeting up with friends, right? The first thing they're going to say is, oh man, he had a little wiener. Or he has a big cock, that kind of stuff. That's the first thing out of their mouths, right? He's good looking. He's not good looking. And I'm talking about women who are like in their like mid to late 30s. Okay. So these are not teenagers, right? These are not like, mid 20s chicks. These are like women who are, in some cases, are in their 40s. So yes, physicality is very important to women. And until you can appreciate that as a guy, I mean, just stop it with the bullshit about like, oh, women don't mind a little extra poundage on a guy. No, they do. The ones you want to get with, they do. The ones who are like living in the gym and they look really hot and they're on the cover of FHM, those, yes, they absolutely do. Do guys shame unmarried guys because you're not playing their game? Yes. Or maybe secretly jealous they're no longer single, possibly. Okay, so do guys shame unmarried guys because you're not? Okay, so you mean married guys shame unmarried guys? Okay, well, not in my case. I would never shame anybody for whatever. I see it as a lifestyle choice. In fact, that gives me a good opportunity to show you another tweet that I just put up. And you guys want to know just how people say, oh, Rollo, you manipulate these incels. Okay. No, I don't manipulate incels. I manipulate confidently ignorant tradcons. That's really what I would much rather manipulate them than anyone else. So here, this was a throwaway tweet that my throwaway tweets end up becoming the most viral tweets that I do. So like the infamous vasectomy tweet, I was actually just retweeting and responding to something that Dr. Richard Reeves had said, and then people took that and they ran with it. I feel like this is like probably like very similar to the same situation here. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so I just posted this. Okay, Kyle, you're gonna laugh at this one. This is really good. Here, let me put let's go full screen with this one. All right. So I just posted this one up. Now, this is a play on another tweet that went viral not too long ago. Now, you guys probably have heard me talk about this. I actually did a full dedicated show to this comparison. Okay, so first is we've got Dan Bilzerian. I know the guy. Dan Bilzerian, 5'9", not a tall guy.
Yeah,
not a tall guy.
He's 5'9".
Yoked as hell, but and has the hottest. And people go, oh, he paid for all those chicks. Trust me, I have met him. I know where he lives. He's not paying for all of these chicks. All right, I will trust Uncle Rollo on this. So this is not success, and this is success. Do you know who that is?
Isn't that Newsom?
Yes. Yeah. You know who doesn't know that? Who? Everyone in the fucking tweet thread doesn't know that. Everyone. God damn. And look at this. 400. God damn. And remember, I posted this at 7:54 a.m. today. God. And 600. And okay, I would declare this viral. Okay. It's not quite 1 million, but it's on its way. It's on track. 640. Everybody wanted to chime in on this. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so I posted this. Now, this is a play on like there used to be a meme where they were taking shots of taking shots at Dan Bilzerian. Dan Bilzerian is not married. Okay, just pointing that out. Dan Bilzerian probably will never get married. All right, because why would he? Give me a reason why Dan would get married. Now, in the other picture right here, this is the father in this picture is Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom, if you don't know who that is the governor of the state of California. Okay. So for all of the tradcons who want to throw out this nice waspy white family with a golden, Labrador in the front there with 4 kids, Gavin Newsom is living the tradcon ideal right now. He is the tradcon ideal at this point. And I even put that out in another post. I was like, this guy is living the life. And at least as far as, pick from one picture, this is how influential just perception is for these guys. Now, of course, does anybody recognize Gavin Newsom? Well, you do, of course, but like anybody on the West Coast would probably recognize him. But practically no one in the thread did, right? So, and of course, I said the irony of the trads retweeting this and not recognizing Gavin Newsom is delicious, right? Okay, so this is Gavin Newsom. He is actually the tradcon ideal because he's got a nice blonde white wife, and all of his children are, he look like very well adjusted, leave it to beaver types, right? And then, of course, there's layers to this. No, not if you don't know who the father of the picture is. Success is subjective. Not if you don't know who the family is. Now, Archwinger got this right because he's part of our squad, so he already knew this. I posit that a brunette wife would be even more successful. Yes, probably right. Yeah, okay. So now here's the thing is, they want to fix it. I fix it for you. Here's Donald Trump. Yeah, but in all likelihood, I'm predicting that Gavin Newsom will probably be the front runner for the presidential candidate for the Democrats. He could have used anybody other than Gavin. Okay, that person got it. Success is different for everyone. What you feel is success, and what I determine is. They want to write this doctoral thesis about what success is and what's not. Trust me. I think here. Let me point this out one more time. Let me go scroll right back here. Both of these pictures are technically somebody's version of success. Okay. I don't necessarily think Dan is living a bad lifestyle. Now, I don't think that I'm necessarily living a bad lifestyle either. I've been married for 28 years. I have one child. And I guess that makes me a failure according to Tradcons, because if you don't have 4 kids or more, you're not repopulating the earth with good God-fearing white children. Right. The funny thing is I think it was Ryan who made me aware of this. Ryan Stone, he was like, he said, because the original picture was Dan Bilzerian, and then there was the other picture of this nice waspy white family, very good looking, blonde, master race wife, right, and surrounded by probably a 12-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old son, an 8-year-old daughter, and then like an infant son or something like that. And he's holding up this pregnancy test that says positive. So there's another one that's on the way. And Ryan's like, do you think they'd have the same response if this was a Hispanic family? You think the trads would have a problem with this? Like if they did like come across the border or something like that. And we're repopulating your country, right? So yes. Rollo's taking shots at Tradcons. Yeah, take that to the bank. I also take shots at liberals too. Just say I'm an equal opportunity shot taker here. I agree with you, Rollo, but this contradicts the ideas of many of the red pill space. No, it doesn't. If you know who Gavin Newsom is. Also, finding a woman worthy of building a family is hard. Okay. Well, apparently Gavin Newsom didn't think it was pretty easy for Gavin. Yeah, and finally, Luke gets it. Yes, thank you. Oh man, somebody got the joke. Somebody got the irony of this. But the thing is, it's like if you look, I mean, there's I can't go through all these. There's 640 responses to this. Both is success at different points in your life. Yeah, this was great. I love the husky. She's like hanging on to that husky. That was funny as hell too. Nah, I'm good. Just because you can reproduce does not make you better in any way. I agree. Rollo, is that you? Yes, this is me, dude. Totally. Yes, this is me on my anniversary. Wrong. Failure. Plus 30 kids plus is the only acceptable life. We have to repopulate the planet. Yeah, here we go. Thank God somebody figured this shit out. Gavin Newsom. Somebody figured out who Gavin Newsom is. Is that a cute wolf? You win. That was great. Choose wisely, modern man. Left or right? Everybody took this as an opportunity to express themselves ideologically, of course. But the thing that was funny as hell is your role is definitely, dude. The whole thing. That was the whole reason I posted this asshat. I know. This goes. Rather have property. Value goes higher. Yes. Yeah. Sure, buddy. Sure, buddy. Cope harder. Agree. Win-win. True. My children. Oh, yeah. Thanks. That's pretty good. Oh, my God. Excuse me. Rollo is the master at drumming up outrage. Yeah, well, it's not hard to be a master when you guys make it so goddamn easy. Oh, geez. This is great, man. That is awesome. Gavin Newsom in his Dan Bilzerian days. Oh, some people got it. This is great, but a lot of people. So, anyways, I'll stop belaboring that for you guys. No, the reason I did that is because it's like that's the TradCon ideal, but it's not, because he's like the polar opposite of anything you would want to say, like ideologically, right? As far as the TradCons are concerned, but I got you, and it's not hard to get you guys right. Again, it's not about people wanted to. Here's the best part of this whole thing. There's a lot of comments that were in there. They go, Rollo's flip flopping. Dude, no, you're just confidently ignorant, and you just prove my point.
Get the message.
The trolling is just chef's kiss, man. Oh, so so the reason I brought this up is to answer Derek Nelson's question here. Okay, do guys shame unmarried guys because you're not playing their game? I would say yes, but it kind of depends ideologically who you're talking about. So there's an old saying, an old adage that says misery loves company, right? I disagree. I think complacency loves company. And I think that a lot of guys would, especially the more religious set, they're like, oh, you need to get married young, get married early, because that's the proper way to do things. It's the biblical way to do things. And it's like, what gets me is every time, and I just saw this not too long ago, is somebody sent me this. In fact, I think I might even have it. Let me see if I can find it. We got a video of this guy saying, get married and get married early. Oh, here it is. This is good. Okay, watch this. This is it. Hold on.
Get married. You got to figure it out. You got to find the girl. You got to go after her. You got to pursue her. You got to lock this down. Do not fritter your time away at college and trying to figure out your vocation. Get married and watch how motivated you are to find work.
Stronger man nation.
We got it all backwards in our day. Go to school, get a job, buy a house, find yourself, and then go find a girl. Newsflash, all the good ones will be gone. You need to get your priorities straight. You get a girl, and then you'll figure the rest.
You think this guy got a good one early on?
Out. Get a girl. You're like, I'm single, this is uncomfortable. That's the point. You got to go get a girl. We need young men marrying earlier and young women marrying earlier so they can step into the joy of all God has for them. Well, you make the single people uncomfortable. I don't care. We are in a rapid sociological decline because young people are having sex, but they're not getting married.
Okay, so as you probably might guess, I heartily disagree with a good portion of this. Yes. So to answer your question, Derek, this guy, the I don't know, Pastor Strongman, Pastor Strongman, would probably be a good example of one of these guys who is trying to, when I say shame, but sorry, yeah, I would say there's definitely a good helping of shame and all that, because they're not playing their game. Yes, because they need more people to play that game. They need more people to play the marriage game. Because they do so, it support the tithe checks don't come in if mama doesn't tell daddy to go and fucking write the checks out there for them, right? So what gets me is I think there's this desire to, and I'm not saying it's unfounded. I get the desperation here, right? But the problem is like guys like this are fighting. They're fighting the new order versus having these old order ideals. And as I've said before, like whenever I ask the girls on Access Vegas, I've asked them this question. I've asked this on Freshman Fit on occasion. Do you want to get married? And I think it was even Aaron Clarius said the same thing. Do you want to get married? Yes, I have plans to get married. Okay, when are you going to do that? When I get to be 30, like when I've tapped out, when I've exhausted all of my options, right? When the lights come on at the club, I'm going to grab some dude to go off. Hey, we want to get married? It's time to do it. My clock is ticking. My biological clock is ticking. And what's funny is like even pastors like this will find some way to sort of wiggle in the idea that it's men's fault that we have like this fertility crisis. No, bro. It's first of all, the fertility crisis has been fertility in the United States has been below replacement level since 1975. Okay. As a result of not feminism, an invention technology called hormonal birth control. That's what caused the spike in divorce and the rapid decline in marriage. That's it. You want to repopulate the world with a master race, then you need to find some way to ban porn and ban hormonal birth control. The hormonal birth control that your wife is probably on right now. And I'm not saying that's not some sort of noble cause for them to go ahead and do something like that. But the problem is like the horses have left the stable, man. I mean, the toothpaste is not going back in the tube anymore. So what are you going to do? You can either try to change the game or you can be a better player of the fucking game. And so when I I decided this a long time ago, 28 years ago, that this is the lifestyle that I'm choosing. I want to be closed on her end, closed on my end. We're doing for lack of a better term, a traditional monogamy relationship. Okay. I also understand, after having worked in this field for so goddamn long these days, that that's not the only way that people are viewing marriage right now. So technically, if you look at Adam 22 and Lena the Plug right now, they are married. I've seen the marriage. She wore white. I've seen the wedding pictures. People go, oh, that's illegitimate. No, they have a certificate. They went to the minister and got, vaya con Dios, you are married now. Right? They're married. The terms of their marriage is not what most tradcons would like it to be, I'm sure. But that's their relationship. For everybody who wants to jump all up Justin Waller's ass, Justin Waller works it this way. He's got his wife, or effectively his wife. I don't know if they're married or not. He's got his main, who's a very wonderful woman. I've met her before, hung out with him. My wife knows her as well. He's got 2 children, and it's closed on her end, and it's still open on his end because he is a high value guy, and he can do that. Is that right or is that wrong? You guys can decide whether you think that's right or wrong. I'm just reporting the fucking news here. That's how they arranged it, and that's how it's working out for them. How does it work out for Adam 22 and Lena the Plug? Well, apparently it's okay if Jason Love bends her over and rides her to glory on a video, right? Okay, well that's the arrangement of their marriage, right? Well, it's not a real marriage. Well, it isn't to you, but it is to them. Even Destiny, when he was with Melina or whatever, that was the terms of their relationship. Was it's open on both of their ends. Now, obviously, shit went to everything went to hell. Predictably, but they were married, and they back in the day before all this went down, they would have told you the same thing. They went down to the courthouse, they have a certificate, and there it is. They're married. Now the same thing might be like, I'm not going to say like Mike Sartain is not married to Kylie, but he's got a similar situation to what was going on with Justin. And we're trying to figure out marriage and relationships and how we're going to do families and how we're going to do things in the 21st century, but we're still clinging to this old order ideal. We're still clinging to this 20th century. I want what my mom had. I want what Rollo has. Rollo's been married for 28 years. The same woman, never fucked around on her. And is essentially I am actually the ideal, tradcon ideal. I'm still waiting for, maybe that's why I don't get calls from Matt Walsh. Maybe that's why I don't get those calls. Well, he's already one of us, so why do we want to talk to this fuckhead? Yeah. I don't know if anybody caught this, but I saw Justin Waller was on with Michael Knowles not too long ago.
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, it's because I know when Justin is fucking with somebody. He is definitely fucking with Michael Knowles. They were doing as part of the video, like Mike or Justin lets it out that they're filming at like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. in the morning, and they're like tossing back scotches. And I was like, oh shit, like that's my country boy right there. And he was like, where's Brett Cooper? I know she's in love with me. I really wanted to talk to her as soon as I got to Nashville. I'm like, you realize she's married? I don't care. Bring on Brett Cooper. I was surprised she didn't meet him at the front door. She had a crush on him, as did Jedediah Bila one time. But anyway, who doesn't have a crush on a guy, right? But anyways, Derek, yes, you're correct. I think that a lot of it ends up being cope, but more so, Derek, I think it's more like misery loves complacency. Now, I'm not miserable. You don't actually see me. See, that's the difference. I don't shame Justin Waller. I don't shame Mike Sartain for living the way that their lifestyle. That's the lifestyle that they chose, right? If they make it work, fine. If they don't, I'm learning from this no matter what. I see what happens with Kylie and Mike. I see what happens with Justin. I saw what happened with Destiny, right? Yeah. As bad as that whole situation is, and as much as I dislike and have a visceral hate of Destiny, I did learn from the crash and burn of his relationship. So I think when you have guys who are like very adamant, like the guy in the Pastor Strongman, a lot of that is cope. But I think I get into it with Ryan Stone every now and then. We talk about it. Does this guy actually believe this, or is this actually part of his grift? Is this actually something he really can get behind? And I would say in this situation, probably does. He probably actually believes this stuff. It's part of his sort of belief set. So what do you got? Here we go. D&B Skills. Hi, Rollo. Happy anniversary. Thank you. Just wanted to ask if you ever heard of Esther Villar. Yes. Yes, I have. And if you have, agree with what she said. Esther Villar wrote The Manipulated Man, and you got to remember that was written in the mid-70s. So do I agree with what on principle? Yeah. I think it's kind of out of date. People ask me that, do you like Ayn Rand? Did you ever read The Fountainhead? Did you ever read How to Shrink? Yeah, I did. But the thing is like you got to remember that a lot of shit has changed since then, right? Why? How come you don't like Carl Jung, Rollo? I didn't say he didn't have contributions. I just say he's outdated and we need to move on. What's funny to me is like if I go and I say, if I was to say this, or say, you know what, I really think that we ought to adopt Sigmund Freud's ideas on ego, superego, and id, right? I really think we should really give more credibility and start basing society around Freudian psychology. People go, get the fuck out of here, right? Or if I said this, I said, hey, you know what we should do? Instead of doing surgery, we should just like place leeches on people and like have them like bleed them out. And because it seemed to work in, I don't know, medieval times. Should we go back to? No, of course not. I'd be an idiot to say that. But if I say, you know what, Carl Jung is full of shit, according to what we know now, right? He had some contributions, and now we've moved on from that. We need to go push past this. People will lose their fucking minds. Well, I can't believe you say that. Yeah, the reason why you can't believe I would say that is because another doctor named Jordan Peterson, who would very much like to be remembered as a modern day Carl Jung, repopularized it. And honestly, I think we need to move past Jungian psychology. I think we need to move past Freudian psychology. I think we need to move past a lot of different things that we still cling to as some sort of like universal truth, even though we have empirical evidence and we understand today that at the time those theories and everything that we presumed was true with psychology, with anything really, for the time it was great. But we don't need to fly in the Wright brothers, plane anymore off a Kitty Hawk. We have jet engines now. Oh, no. The only way to fly is on the, is just like the Wright brothers did. No. Okay. Yeah, I have seen Esther Villar. Thank you very much. Alberto Boto Poala. I think I said that right. I heard you quote many times that testosterone in men is 15 times higher than women. The literature data I found is more like 5, varying with age. What are your okay? So the literature that I have read and have sort of, if you go, hell, you don't even need to do this. If you go to like, if you're getting TRT, like King of the Hill, if you get TRT, for instance, they have ladies TRT and they have men's TRT. Ladies TRT is something like 8 to 10 milligrams per shot. I currently get 170. Okay. There's a reason for that. A healthy that you want to talk about how like people talk about how testosterone levels have declined or how sperm counts have declined in the past, I don't know, decade, 2 decades, something like that. Wow. That's where I'm going. That's the data that I'm building off of, is the comparisons of men's serum testosterone level versus women's serum testosterone level. So,
I mean, the levels just on the test range falling from women are 9 to 55 nanograms per deciliter, while men's range from 200, 300 all the way to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter, which still a good portion.
Well, and let's see if I can put a little period at the end of this. I know men who have been on gear, and I know women who have been on gear. Right, guys, women who are bodybuilders, right? The first thing that female bodybuilders report when they start doing like deco, they start doing like Prima Bowling or something like that. The first thing is that they want to fuck, man. They're like, I can't believe you guys are like this 24/7. Yeah, pretty much. And what's funny to me is like whenever I've encountered women who have been on test, and they say that. They have a new appreciation for the degree of self-control that the average guy has to have. because I even threw this up on I had a video. I think it was some chick who was on Joe Rogan, and she was saying something to the effect of like, I started doing, or they mistakenly gave her a shot of like a men's dosage of, and then she suddenly found like all of her coworkers like insanely attractive. Like that she would never have. And the first thing out of her mouth, I cannot believe how much self-control men must have to be able to keep this. Of course, for us, it's like we live this way, right? So we don't really think twice about it.
We wake up rock hard, ready to fucking go.
Yeah, wake up with a stiff middle finger and a stiff dick, man. That's fuck the world. Yeah. So we just looked that up. What'd you say it was? Give me the.
It was for women 9 nanograms per deciliter to, if I remember right, 55.
55.
And then men's, 300, 200, depending on how low you are, to 1,000, which is the normal range.
All right. So we just looked it up for you. Hey, thank you. I don't have the Don DeMarco sound. It's we're working on sound. We have the new soundboard. The intro and the outro music are now tied to the board, and they're not in a StreamYard anymore. But next show we will definitely have our Stream Deck sound drops, because we're working out everything in it. Look how beautiful this studio is. I'm looking at downtown Las Vegas right here. God, $1 million view. Should a wife be red pill aware? Ooh, good question. Or maybe not directly, just knowing how the male brain works, and also about the SMV scale. You will find, I think one of the things that you will find, Rational Agent, I've answered this question before, but one of the things that you'll find is I've always been against telling women about the red pill, or telling women, especially now, or against revealing game, I guess, because what happens is it's what's called the observer effect. Okay. It's observing a process changes the process. So if you, I had this conversation originally with guys who wanted to say, well, why would I want to play games with that woman? I just want to get down to business. If she's not DTF, then I'm going to move on to the next one. Right. I'm like, well, that's fine if you're with the type of girl who is like, can appreciate direct game. Right. You're DTF. Yes, I am. Okay, let's go fuck. Right. But the thing is like when you say stuff like that, or like people have had my book, right? And then their girlfriend finds my book, and they're like, rational male, give me that, and they read it for 3 days. They come back and they throw it back on the desk and they say, everything in that book is true, and you shouldn't know any of it. The reason they say that's funny, right? But the reason it's funny and the reason they say that is because it reveals the game. Women they don't want to be told that they're playing a game. They want the guy to be a good player of the game. They want to play a game. They don't want to be told that they are playing a game. And God forbid, they want to be told the fucking rules. I keep seeing these. I don't know if this is a new thing, but maybe there's this resurgence or this reheating of the sociosexual hierarchies that Vox Day came up with a long time ago. What are those? I've done full videos on this. Alpha, beta, delta, gamma, omega. Oh, and sigma. There is no sigma. There is no sigma males. Please cut the shit. Okay. There's no sigma. There's only, if you watch Vox Day's original videos on sociosexual hierarchies, there's only alpha, beta, delta, gamma, and omega. That's it. Okay. Why do I say there's no omegas? Track with me here. So you've got alphas, betas, deltas, blah, blah, blah. Okay. In alphas, there's variations on the theme. Okay. People will say sigma, you're not sigma. Okay. You're a variation on an alpha theme, if at all. But the problem is in bringing those things up, you end up giving away the game. So if you want to know, like, I'm going to be a sigma, if you're saying I want to be a sigma, you're not. You go, I'm going to be an alpha. No, you're not, because just the very act of conceiving it. If you were an alpha, you wouldn't ask the question, am I an alpha? You wouldn't. So, because it's got to be I know that sounds like really zen and really fortune cookie, but it's true.
It's like they say in Game of Thrones, a king never says he's the king.
He's a king, right? Yeah. Exactly. You understand it, right? And so, like when I was in my very first book, when I was talking about Corey Worthington as the Alpha Buddha, the reason why I called him the Alpha Buddha is because he's completely unaware of him. Like he's self-unaware. Like like you see his act. If I could bottle that essence of alpha, I would be a multi-bajillionaire. But the thing is it's so intrinsic. It's such a part of who he is. Alphas don't think about being alpha. Betas don't think about being beta, right?
Natural born leaders.
Natural born leaders, natural born followers, right? There's no discussion involved. That's why you're not a Sigma, by the way. If you say, I'm going to be a Sigma, I think I'm a Sigma. I think I'm a Sigma means you're not a Sigma. Because observing a process changes the process, okay? So it's called the observer effect. So why am I saying that? Well, because there's one category called gammas. Okay. Gammas are the guys who are, there's also subcategories of gammas called secret kings. Okay. Gammas are the list builders. They're the ones who like break everything down into the most deep. Like people will say I'm a gamma in some ways, right? I'm not. I'm kind of a lesser alpha if I had to like categorize myself. But the gammas are the guys who make Excel spreadsheets to figure out like why it is girls won't fuck them. Right. They're the guys who are like, who will go and poll girls. I go, okay, we're breaking up. I want an exit interview. You know, so why? Okay, now why? Hold on a second here. Now, why did you break up with me? What was the reasons? What did I do wrong? What did I say here? We've been out on 4 dates. On the third date, what did I say that really turned you like that kind of shit? Like very fucking analytical, right? And I really should show this. I should do another episode on sociosexual hierarchy. In that video that Vox Day is talking when he's describing the gammas, like the gammas are the guys who want to give up the game. They're the guys. So when you start telling women about how things are, this is how the red pill is, this is how human nature is, this is how women's nature is. When you start talking about game, when you start talking about the red pill with women, you're effectively you're turning you're giving women the impression that you're a gamma. And in that video, when Vox Day is describing gammas, he says, women will tell you that they have this indescribable urge to punch the guy in the face because he wants to explain the game and he wants to break down all the rules and pick the thing apart like a surgeon and put it all back together again. And again, there's nothing right or wrong about that. It's just anti-seductive because women don't want to be told that they're playing a game. They want you to be a superior player of that game. And this is really kind of keys in on something I've been talking about, or I've been actually considering writing a book about this, which is a holistic approach to the red pill. And in this case, the observer effect is something that's very key to a lot of different elements of game and a lot of different elements of the red pill. So for instance, if you start saying, if you're going to ask me a question, say like, well, should I tell my girlfriend about being red pill, right? Well, the answer is going to be no, but that's not the final answer. The final answer is, why do you feel like you want to in the first place? Why would you want to tell her? Because you have this, do you think that it's going to improve, or is it going to be a detriment to your relationship with that girl? Do you think that you telling her this and saying, here's the game we're playing and I know what you're doing, right? I've had guys tell me that their girlfriends have read The Rational Male, and then they try to go back to normal. They try to go back to their relationships, and they can't do it because like they'll have a conversation and she'll be like, "Do you think I'm shit testing you right now?" Like because she read that one chapter, that one section. Yeah. So you think I'm shit testing you right now, don't you? And like, what? You just given away the game, right? Observing the process changes the process, right? So, if you give her a backhanded compliment or something like that, what are you neg hitting me now? Is that a neg? Is that a neg? Are you being cocky and funny? Is that amused mastery? Because if that's amused mastery, then I'm out of here. I'm gonna go back to my mom's. That's how it was gonna. That's you have to be a good player of the game, and to do that, you can't reveal that you are playing a game. No, so people are going to ask me this. I'm going to give you the inevitable follow-up, which is, well, doesn't your wife know all of this stuff about the red pill? My wife has read my first book and part of the second book. So if you were to quiz her, and by the way, that was a long time ago because my book's like over 10 years old now. So does my wife go, oh, are you shit testing? No, she doesn't. You know, she's down to earth enough to know. She internalizes it, right? So she understands what's going on. Again, as I said before, the secret, or a key to a healthy relationship is polarity. And to maintain polarity, you have to maintain identity. And to maintain identity, that means that there's some things about yourself that you don't have to be. One of the reasons I have a real problem with quote unquote vulnerability is because it defeats having a unique identity, and it defeats having it defeats playing the game, right? Vulnerability explains game rather than demonstrates it. Remember I say demonstrate, do not explicate. It's better to do than it is to talk about it. So don't tell me what you have planned. Just fucking do it and show me what you're doing. It's another reason why I always say, like, I don't really care about accolades. I don't care about like people, oh, you just want to sell more books. Well, yeah, I'm an author. Thanks. But my ultimate goal is not necessarily book sales so much as it is watching people show me what they've built with the material that I put out there. That's more of a, stroke my ego. It's more complimentary to me. It's more of a fulfilling and rewarding to me to see what people do with the material and the information that I help them out with. If it saves your life, great. If it helps you benefit from your life, it got you out of a bad situation, fuck, man, show me, tell me about it. I would much rather see what you did than you tell me, well, I read your book and this is what I plan on doing. Or I get guys in my Patreon group, or I get guys who are like want one-on-ones with me. And they're like, should I leave this girl or should I stay with this girl? Well, if you're asking me, you probably already made the decision and you just want me to give you fucking permission to do so. And I'm not going to do that because you're going to make the decision whether I tell you or I don't. So don't ask me for permission. Ask yourself why you need permission in the first place. That's the root of it all. I will boil. It's like, you want to ask me for advice, you want to ask me for analysis, it's going to be like watching the movie Inception. Okay. We're going to go all the way down to the original Inception here. And so you're probably not going to like the original Inception. You're all the way up here on the surface level. Should I leave her? No, you don't, because here, let me go down the bottom here. This is why you're asking me this in the first place. That's what you need to deal with before you start, oh, Rollo, to give me permission to leave this bitch. Then do it. Please. You've already made the decision. So when it comes to revealing stuff, again, this is the holistic approach. It's not so much about like, oh, is it best practices to tell women about the red pill? Is it best practices to allow your wife or whatever to read the Rational Male or to know that you're one of those red pill guys, right? Like women, I love seeing these TikTok videos these days. Or I would never date one of those red pill guys. You would never fucking know if the guy was red pill or not, if he was that fucking good. And you would suck his dick and you would be shocked to see the red pill, or you to see the Rational Male on his nightstand the next morning. So don't give me that bullshit about like, oh, I would never date a red pill. You wouldn't even know. If the guy wasn't a gamma and wasn't like, making Excel spreadsheets about why you rejected him. If it wasn't a gamma guy and the guy was on top of his game and he was good, and you know what? If a guy was that good and he was red pill, ladies, you would not care. You would not care at all. Oh, he's good looking. He's hot. He's a little red pill, but I don't care. I kind of like that. He's kind of dark triad, but I don't want to fuck him. Yeah, because he's hot and because he's got game and because he's a good. That's why we talk about good game. That's why we refer to it as game, because he's playing a game that women want to play.
That's why Magic Trick's so good, because you don't know how it works.
You don't know how it works. Exactly. Or that's why it's enjoyable. Once you explain the magic, once you take it away, it's no longer magic anymore, right? And so when Robert Greene, for example, in The Art of Seduction, which is an okay book, I don't think it's his best, but I think it's okay. One of the things he points out, which I think is absolutely true, is that to effectively seduce somebody, the person has to want to be seduced in the first place. You have to have a willing participant. There has to be the seducer and the seducee. And the seducee has to be the one who's like enjoys the game well enough that they're going to stick around. Sometimes to their detriment, and sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's great. There's more than one way to seduce people, right? It doesn't have to be romantic seduction. Like, I will tell you right now, if Gavin Newsom gets the nod, he will be trying to seduce you into voting for him instead of Trump, right? There's a political aspect to it. Somebody wants you to influence you to buy a car. There's a certain aspect of seduction to buying that car. Oh man, think of how awesome you'll feel when you're in this Camaro. And I'm like, okay, here, take my money.
Car commercial.
Here you go. 2011 convertible Camaro. Rollo, don't you think it would feel so good to be in this car? Yes, here. Take my money. Shut up and take my money. There's an aspect of seduction in a lot of people say it's influence. That's why I hate the word influencer, for example. Who are you influencing and what are you influencing for? Right? What's interesting to me is like we have a more positive connotation with the word influencer than we do with seducer. Yeah, they're essentially doing the same thing. Yeah, but women want to play the game. They don't want to be told that they're playing a game. Demonstrate, do not explicate. So why would you want to tell her in the first place is my first question. And then second of all, don't, because you're giving away the game. And so any kind of impression that she had of you, any perception she's had of you, anything, all of that goes away because now you've given up the game. And now you said, oh, you broke character, right?
Yeah.
You go to a Renaissance festival and everybody's like, yes, my lord. Well met, my lady. You know, like they're in character, right? You don't want them to go, well met, my lord. Hey, you want some booze? Hey, we're gonna go out and party and smoke a bowl in the back there. Come on, let's go. You want that person to stay in character. Yeah. You want them to. You don't want actors. It's like breaking down the third wall, right? Yeah. There's a third when you're in that situation, when you're in, whether it's a romantic situation or you're trying to get a job, right? Or you're trying to sell a car or whatever else. If there's an aspect of seduction to it or an aspect of influence to it, you don't want to break character.
Now, is it for women when they are playing their own role? Because at least in my own relationships and stuff, I internalize my own things, especially your book. I would see that when I would tell them anything about the red pill or anything, they internalize it themselves and they would understand at least like they're playing their role and I'm playing mine.
Yes.
And that's perfectly fine.
Yes. And they don't want you to break character. That's why when guys like when I show those videos of those guys floating around like manatees in the the men's conference or something like that, exactly. And they're angry and like Arnold with his fists like he's angry because you see his fist, right? That's giving away the game.
Yeah.
That vulnerability is giving away the game. And women don't want, again, as Rich Cooper says, women don't care about a man's struggles. They just wait at the finish line and they bang the winners. Well, to get to be a winner, you have to go through some struggles, and women don't want to know about what those struggles are because they want to believe that you just get it, that you just know what you're talking about, because that's what's going to inspire long-term security for a woman. Is like, you got there, you know what you had to do, and now you're here. If women can get a turnkey relationship, they would. There's no such thing, but if they could get it, they definitely would.
Women don't always want a gamble.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when they're gambling with their sexual agency, which is a lifetime investment, right? Let's see. If 2/3 of women ask for open relationships, and more women than men propose threesomes, do they? And women get bored. I'd like to know where you're getting your statistics here, but I would very much like to read these. Get bored with monogamy 1 to 4 years. Also, if 15% of marriages are sexless, why are trad pushing the narrative of shame BS for guys to get married? The reason why they're doing that, by the way, the easy answer to this is they're still in the 21st century. We're still trying to figure out how to do marriage in the 21st century. It's really as simple as that, but we're doing so with 20th century ideals. We want to force fit 20th century marriage into a 21st century reality. And that's why you want to know why, especially evangelical churches right now are just gnashing their teeth, trying to figure out how to get more babies and get more men into the church. It's exactly this. They're struggling with the idea of trying to sell 20th century marriage to 21st century guys. 21st century guys understand that marriage is an all downside proposition for them. If they're smart anyways, they understand that it's an all downside proposition for them. They also understand that the women who want to get married in the church right now are most likely 30-year-old women who, with average age of first marriage, have baggage already. And they've got to find some way to sanctify or purify or sterilize whatever. They got to find some way to sanitize these women with religion. So once they get, born again and saved again, and they're 30 and they have 2 kids in tow from 2 different baby daddies, we got to find another guy who's going to come in and take responsibility for them. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to try to build them up and reward them with social rewards and pat them on the back, or else we're going to try to shame them, which is the completely wrong tactic to even do. Rather, I think what most tradcons and what most religious, minded people really need to understand that it's not the guys you need to focus on. It's the women you need to focus on. It is women's situations, how they got into that situation in the first place. You want to know why women love Christianity in general. The reason why they love evangelical Christianity is because it's primarily focused on forgiveness. And again, that's a primary tenet. And I think it's a great thing, but it's also has a very deep utility for women who are trying to do this, get a mulligan, right? They didn't stick the landing. And so now they're looking for a man with benefits to help them out, who is also on board and believes in the same Christian forgiveness that they are hoping is going to save them from themselves at some point. If you want a strong man ministry guy, if you want guys to get married, get married early. Yeah. The reason why I'm saying get married early is so that these women don't go through all this bullshit when they get to be 30 some odd years old. That's the real reason.
Accountability.
But that's not how he sells it. He sells it as shame. Men, you need to get married early because that's the 20th century ideal. 20th century ideal is get married at 19 because that's the way they did it in the 50s. And the average age of first marriage in 1965 was 22 years old for a guy and 20 for a woman.
Damn, that would have been me.
Okay. Yeah, you'd be an old man. You probably have like 3 kids by now.
Mexican too?
Yeah. Well, sorry, 7. You'd have 7 kids by now.
There you go.
But the guy is selling 20th century marriage to 21st century guys. That's why it's falling on deaf ears. The few men that are probably in that men's ministry conference in the first place. There's literally nothing for men in modern, certainly evangelical churches, but in modern Christian churches, there's nothing for men. In fact, if anything, it is openly hostile to anything conventionally masculine. How do I know that? Because the guys who are like out there, wagging a finger at men all the time, is they don't understand. They simply don't understand the intricacies of the modern global sexual marketplace. And if you had any inclination as to that, you wouldn't be focusing on men, you would be focusing on women. But they won't do that because they understand where their bread is buttered. You can't alienate women from the modern church because they're the ones that keep the lights on. That's where the tithe checks come from. There are far more women in church than there are men. I want to know would you like to know where the stats come from? I'd be happy to tell you. All you got to do is buy the Rational Male Book 4 Religion, where I went to 3 years, dedicated 3 years of my life. Oh, how come you just don't tell us, Rollo? Because I spent 3 years doing it. Thank you.
I guess would the root be lack of accountability?
Accountability, but also a lack of foresight, a lack of insight, a lack of if you ever read 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene, there's a concept called global strategy, or it's grand strategy. Grand strategy is not winning a battle, it's winning the war, right? Mm-hmm. Seeing everything from a God's eye perspective, right? Seeing things 10 years into the future kind of thing. No one thinks in terms of grand strategy, period. So least of all women, because and why should they? I was reminded of this on Adam Sosnick's show last time I was on there with Mike back in May. We had this one girl on there, and Adam's trying to pull the finger wagging thing again because I guess they want to go political and be tradcons all of a sudden. Fuck those we're red pill adjacent now. But he starts asking, when do you want to get married? Are you planning to get married? What's your plan? What's your schedule? Blah, blah, blah. And they went around the panel until they got to the 23-year-old girl. And the girl's like, I have no fucking plans whatsoever to get married. Like that. And then, of course, then they stop, full stop, stop. And they start focusing on this chick to shame this chick. And I'm like, stop. I said, and I called out Adam. I said, just stop. I said, listen to what she's saying to you. She's 23 years old. This isn't even an afterthought for a 23-year-old. And why would it be? She's on the top of her fucking game right now. And you're going to try to tell this chick that she needs to adopt grand strategy. It only occurs to her if it's painful, if there's some sort of consequences, if there's some sort of accountability that has to go with that. And you know what? Good looking chicks at 23 years old, when they're hitting their prime and they're at the top of their game, there's not even a thought of account. There's the idea doesn't even enter the brain at that point. And they'll say the same thing. That's why when I hear this guy talk about like, oh, you need to get married young. Yeah, that'd be great for guys because guys would love that. This is a 23-year-old girl on fucking Adam on Saucecast It's not even an afterthought. So ministry guy, talk to them, talk to the girls. They're the ones that you need to convince, not guys. Guys are like, oh, yeah, I get married and I get laid. Fuck yeah, well, I'm 19. I'll get married. 23, I'll get married. No problem. Because they're young and dumb and full of cum, right? They're stupid. So, and if the only moral way to get laid is to get married, the guys who are religious minded will line up for that shit. 23-year-old religious minded girl, she doesn't care. She doesn't want to. It's not even an afterthought. Talk to the bitches before you start talking to the guys. Okay, let me grab this next one here. Jeez, I got lots of these today. Maybe technology changing marriage is why Luddites, Luddites, thank you, like the Amish. Are they really Luddites though? Yeah. Maybe they know something we don't. On tech use. Okay. Women in World War II, the same. My father was born in 1942. Okay. Grandpa went to World War II, came back to stepson, which was his nephew too. Yeah. Well, I had this one, I forget which post I put this in. It might, I know what it was. It was in my War Brides post. I think a lot of people think of like the greatest generation as being being immune to like social moral degeneracy, and these are the kids that stormed the beaches of Normandy, right? Yeah, but if you go back and you look at the there's birth rate information for that time, for the World War II era, like from 1940 to 1945, 46. If you look at the child illegitimacy rate at that time, and because they didn't have legal abortion then, obviously, but they were still like back out. There was abortions that were taking place at that time, right? If you look at those, you will have a completely different view of the greatest generation. And when you look at those, so you look at those stats, and those were the American stats. I wasn't even looking at like Western Europe at that time. If you look at that, and then you look at the women who, like in Holland, in occupied Holland and in occupied France, who were basically banging the German officers at the time. And then once France was liberated and once the Netherlands were liberated, what they did is they took those women, they dragged them into the public square, and they would shave their heads, right, and say, "This is a slut," and she was sleeping with the enemy, literally sleeping with the enemy. So that's a collaboration. She was fucking Klaus, and so therefore we're going to shame her by shaving her heads. You know what they did with the guys who were collaborating? They just shot them right there dead. Yep. So ladies, don't think that you got, we're so oppressed. No, you're alive. And the guys who actually collaborated with the Germans, they're dead. But that, again, that goes back to the War Brides dynamic. You would have a much different opinion of men and women, or I would say you would understand what I say when I say that men are men and women are women, no matter what the era it is. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like, we're in this state of moral decay in the 21st century, Rollo. Okay, but I could have made the same claim for Western Europe and post-war Europe. What do we got here? Should a guy who is a 5 marry a girl who is a 3? Okay. We're going to play Inception again at the end of this, children. Okay. To satisfy her hypergamous mating, or is assortive mating. Okay. You want to talk about assortive mating? I'm glad you brought this up. All right. So what is the difference between hypergamy and assortive mating? Okay. Assortive mating actually worked back before we had, here, this is a little bit better. Just so happens I had this on tap today. Okay. Sexual freedom, right? Case 1, without socially enforced long-term monogamous, somebody misspelled that, bonds between men and women, right? Okay. This looks like the classic hypergamous situation that you would see math drop, right? Yeah. Which is basically a variation on stuff that I did way back in the day, but that's okay. So you'd have females 1s and 2s who wouldn't reproduce, and then you all from 1 to 6s. Now remember, this is sexual market value. That market value is dependent on a lot of different things. So don't think, I'm a 6, I'm never going to reproduce. No, you probably will if you have value added, right? So that's the left side of this graph. I'm sorry, I'm looking for another one that I had here on tap, but I don't have it. This will do though. Then the other one is regulated sexuality. Now this is the classic assortive mating situation. Now, what happens here is like modern day assortive mating proponents think that this is in some way innate. It is not innate. The left side is innate. The right side is regulated by society, not naturally what would occur if there is sexual freedom. So let's continue. Regulated sexuality, strict enforcement of lifelong monogamous bonds between men and women, perfect dad society, right? Okay, so ones with ones, twos with twos, threes with threes. This is why I lock horns with idiots like Alex from Date Psych, because they want to say this is what assortive mating is really about. No, it's not. This is a regulated sexual marketplace. That's what this is. And prior to the sexual revolution, you might have had a case. Well, it looks like a 6 is going to get with a 6, and we're all going to be happy because we're all 6s, and we're not going to fantasize about fucking a 7. We're not going to fantasize about fucking Aquaman, who was a Jason Momoa, who was a 10, right? No. We're in a regulated society, which of course is all founded on one thing that has confounded pretty much everything since the Enlightenment period era, which is the blank slate and social constructionism. Okay, so everything on the regulated side of the regulated sexuality is dependent on sociosexuality, or it's dependent on social constructionism, which we know is bullshit right now. How do we know that? Because we have the 4 laws of behavioral genetics, okay, which we'll return back to here in just a moment. Now, if we look on the right or the left side of this is classic hypergamy. So classic hypergamy is an unregulated sexual freedom, which it was pretty much the case since 1965. So if you look at the divorce rate overlaid on top of the use and the rise in popularity of hormonal birth control, you will see, if I know correlation's not causation, but it's a hell of a correlation, they look almost identical. So the more women started using hormonal birth control, the more they wanted to ditch their husbands. Why? Because they were all about regulated sexualities on the regulated side. So when we talk about assortive mating, like a lot of people want to say, well, usually 8s get with 8s and 7s get with 7s and 6s get with 6s. And this is just the way it is because, that's just like, yeah, that might have worked when we lived in hunter-gatherer tribes. It might have worked even through, post-agrarian societies, right? 6 is 6, 7 is 7s, right? But the problem is one technological advancement that killed marriage also killed the regulated sexuality market as well. So when people want to say, oh, assortive mating this, assortive mating this, well, okay, let's also look at, are we talking about prior or post mating? So are 6s getting with 6s? Are they marrying them, or are they actually getting with them because of some sort of innate biological drive to get with somebody to achieve some sort of balance or some sort of parity? Well, we know this isn't true because all we have to do is look at the rise in divorces right after hormonal birth control kicked in, and we pretty much went and shifted over to a gynocentric social order. In a gynocentric social order, this is what you're going to see on the sexual freedom side of things. So if you're going to go and try to make a case for assortive mating prior to the sexual revolution, you might be able to convince me, but it's still based on social constructionism and the blank slate. If you go and you look at the innate evolved sexual strategies and mating strategies of women and men, really, but in this case, we're just going to focus on women, you can't help but see that it is based on what I call, anyways, classic hypergamy. That's the difference between those two. So when we're talking about assortive mating, when I say assortive mating is dead, and it's been dead, we've had this conversation. I've been having this conversation since my So Suave days, since 2006 when I came up with the word matrix. But these are the conversations that we've already had, and so just to see us rehashing shit like assortive mating, it's not about who's marrying who, because the marriage rates are bullshit. The marriage rates are lower than they've ever been. So if you want to say, well, it's a sort of mating, 6s get with 6s, 8s will get with 8s, okay, but they're not getting with each other with the same kind of frequency as when we came up with the idea of assortive mating. Assortive mating's been around forever, a long time. I want to say it's probably a product of the 60s psychology. Everybody gets with not even psychology, it's sociology is what it is. So when you're going to tell me that, Sixes marry sixes. First of all, the sixes are not marrying sixes in the same rate that they were. Like, it's the lowest marriage rate at least in Western society, in weird societies, right? Western, industrialized, educated, democratic, rich societies, right? Weird. I probably messed that up. But anyways, those societies, you might have had a case in the 20th century. In the 21st century, absolutely, all bets are off. Really, after 1965, all bets are off. So what replaced it? The innate order that would have happened had there not been a dependency on men, like women depended on men, men depended on women, right? That's how it was, because it was regulated. It's no longer regulated. So what is the natural default? Hypergamy. Simple as that. I don't like, it's a curve this fucking high too, man. Like, why can you not get this through your fucking head? You know why? Because people want fucking hope. That's why. I talked about this. I'm like, God damn it. You're going to get me all worked up on this one thing. And we talked about this. People want to be hopeful about something. One of the reasons why I think there's this like kind of this anti-red pill push is because people, well, it's not as bad as you think it is. And I've never said it is. I just said you can use this for your own fucking benefit. You can use the red pill education. You can use the red pill knowledge and awareness and everything else to, like I said, heat your home and cook your food, or you can set yourself on fire or set your neighbor on fire. And what happens is anti-red pill fuckwits think that it's all about setting your neighbor on fire and setting your house on fire rather than actually using it for your own fucking benefit. That's why. And that's why they don't want to hear that Rollo Tomassi has a 28-year marriage that's been successful for a very long time and has a lot to do with the fact that I'm red pill aware and I understand my own nature as a man and my wife's nature as a woman. And you know what? It fucking works. It works like it dovetails perfectly together. And I can make it work. And you know who hates that? People like fucking Alex from Date Psych, for all these fucking gatekeepers of evolutionary psychology. They hate that. You know who else hates that? Tradcons hate that. That's why I don't get the call from Matt Walsh. You know who else hates that? Liberals like fucking Destiny. They hate that too. I'm hated by everybody. It's me against the fucking world, man. I tell you right now, me against the world, baby. But I will tell you, the proof is in the fucking pudding. So like at 28 years, all I have to do is put 28 years ago today, I got married to the love of my life. People lose their fucking minds. Oh my, everybody either, it's very super congratulatory, which I'm appreciative of. Okay. I'm not like trying to fish for compliments or anything like that. It's great. The thing is, you know who's not going to recognize that? Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, Brett Cooper, all the rest of these people who want to be anti-red pill, like tradcons, they're never going to recognize that. You know who's not going to recognize that also? It's also the evolutionary psychology gatekeepers. They're not going to recognize that either. They're never going to throw me a fucking bone, right? They're never, you know who else is not going to recognize that? Fucking dyed in the wool, wokesy liberals. They're never going to they just can't give credit where it's due. They never will. And you know what? I'm good with it. Fuck them. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Should a guy so that's the sort of mating guy. Hang on. Who should be the prize in a marriage? A husband or wife? Well, the husband primarily should be the prize, period. Because especially speaking from if you're looking at this from an innate evolved perspective, men need to be the dominant protector. It goes back to this marriage causes divorce. Okay. Patriarchy is a much more balanced system than gynocentrism, feminism, or androcentrism. People think that patriarchy is androcentrism. No. Patriarchy is a natural order because it fits with conventional masculinity and it fits with conventional femininity. Now, when people say patriarchy this, they think it's like tyrannical. No, androcentrism is tyrannical. It is 100% responsibility and 0% authority. Okay. So if men have 100% authority and 0% responsibility, that's androcentristic. Centrist. Gynocentrism is exactly the opposite. It's 100% responsibility for men and 0% authority for men, but 100% responsibility or authority for women, 0% responsibility for women. That, again, meets the definition of tyranny. And in this case, it's by women for women, as opposed to by men for men. Okay. Patriarchy is not androcentrism. Feminism is not gynocentrism. Okay. Feminism is definitely the sort of it's the voice of gynocentrism for sure. But patriarchy is a balanced system because it implies responsibility with authority. So as a patriarch of my family, my wife is expected to enter into my frame, and I am legally responsible for her for every action she does, and my children for that matter. And how do I know this is the natural order? Because the first thing that we say when I see a child engaging in criminality, or we see them in drug use or suicide or anything that's sort of like a social blight, the first thing we say is, where is the father? Why would that matter? Why would that matter in an egalitarian, equalist society? It shouldn't mean a goddamn thing. And the first thing you should do is point at the mother, because it's a single mother that's raising this child. She's the problem. We don't do that. The first response is, where's the father? We got to blame it on the guy. Why would that matter? We're all equal. It's social constructionism. It's the blank slate. It's essentially communitarianism on top of that, as well as socialism as well. So why would that matter? It's who's responsible for the child? Well, the father's not around, so the mother is. And we want to say she's superwoman anyways. She doesn't need a man. She wants a man. She doesn't need a man. So why would she need a father? Fathers are superfluous. If, for instance, it was a single father and had a son that is engaged in criminality or in any of those other social, blights that I was talking about, we don't go, where's the mother? we don't say that. We say, oh, this man, the father's a failure. He wasn't there. He's absentee. He's not living up to his burden of performance. That's the first thing we say, because the man is the one who is expected, because we still have in the back of our heads, written into our monkey brains, that patriarchy is the natural state of things and ought to be that way. But in an idealized situation, that man has responsibility for his children and the authority to affect that responsibility. That is why the man should be the prize in the relationship. Does it work that way? No. But ideally, in the back of our heads, the way our evolutionary firmware developed, that's the first impression that we have. So yes, that I would definitely say that the man should be the prize in the relationship, because the woman needs to enter into that man's frame. Alex from Playing with Fire, what's up with that? What's up with what? Fuck him. I don't care. Fuck that guy. Alex from Playing with Fire. What do you want me to say? That he's functionally autistic? Okay, there you go. Yeah, high functioning autist. Yes. Did he get his lazy eye fixed? Alien Romulus final trailer. Yeah. Please don't suck. 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 That's all I got to say about that, because you guys know I'm a huge Alien fan. Hell, go get the bitch. I'll be back. Go get the bitch. That scorched reverse engineered Xeno looks nasty. Yeah, it does. Kind of cool. It looks kind of cool. So there we go. I got the bitch. The bitch is back. See, guys, we're trying to find place to put tchotchkes up here. We don't really have much place to put tchotchkes anywhere. So I got to put that. Let's put her right here. Let's see if I can keep her. We'll replace the 8-ball here for today. There we go. Wait.
Well, it's because of the super chat.
No, I'm just trying to get the perfect position. I'm trying to get camera 3 right there. Okay, I know. I'll take it out. Hang on. Yeah, I wish, man. I wish. God, they can swim now. They can always swim. If you saw, God damn, I'm such a fucking nerd. You guys do this to me. Hold on, let's stop the show. Yeah, they could always swim. If you looked at Alien 4, which was a tragedy, Alien 4 with the baby alien, where they cloned Ripley.
Yep.
You can have, guys, 20th Century Fox, you can have aliens without Ripley in it. Trust me. The franchise will carry.
Prometheus.
Prometheus was good, but it was good in its own way. Yes. I think it was all right. I like Prometheus.
It was a good prequel.
Maybe people are going to throw rocks at me for that, but I like Prometheus. But for a different reason.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool. It was spooky well enough, but it just, you know what? Have you ever played Alien Isolation, the game?
Yes, I actually have.
Oh my God.
Fucking terrifying.
I gotta, okay, so full stop. Hey, can you make me make that show? When I remember, let's see, the first Alien came out in 1979. Okay. I would have been 11 years old when it came out, and I wanted to see that movie so goddamn bad, and I couldn't go. It was rated R, right? It was a horror movie, right? So I couldn't go see it. But I waited and waited and waited until it came on HBO. And that was back in the day where you had to like take whatever HBO gave you. You know, you had the little guide and you go, okay, Alien's going to be at 2 a.m. on Saturday, you know, because they would always keep like the scary shit and the sexual shit like at late nights, right?
Would they check tickets?
Oh yeah. Back then they would rated R. They would actually enforce that, especially for that movie. Yeah. When it first came out anyways. Yeah, it's funny. It's like now we just kind of like, oh, look, it's a toy, you know. Back then, that shit wasn't no toy, man. You were fucking scared shitless. And so, God damn it, dude. So what I did is I stayed up really late because I desperately wanted to see this movie. I watched it and like I had to like keep all the lights out because I didn't want anybody to know I was watching the movie. And like, God damn, the next one I'm like, oh my God, it came out of his chest. And you want to know why I'm scarred for life? You want to know why I'm this way? That it's not some bitch like threw me over the coals or anything. It's because I watched Alien at 12 years old. That's why.
Yeah, I was raised with horror movies.
Yeah, I used to like them a whole lot more than I do now. Maybe it's just because I think when you're younger, like shit scares you more.
It does. I mean, I had my brother Miguel literally torture me by watching Child's Play 1 through 3.
Oh my God.
As a child. Oh my God, that was terrifying. We went to what was it? Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the revamp. I don't know if the second
one got me is like I was never really scared because I started watching horror movies when I was like probably like 10 or 11 years old. But you could never watch them. I could only watch them on HBO, right? When they would come up, which was just as good, right? Do you ever watch Friday the 13th?
Yes.
The original ones?
Yes.
Do you remember? Oh my God. You know, so it's funny. I have a younger brother, right?
Yeah.
And so when we would watch that, to freak each other because we had bunk beds when we were kids. So I'd be in the middle of the night, like we were supposed to be asleep, and also one of us would go, like shut up, no. We start losing our minds. But you know what's funny is like human killers didn't frighten me. It was like alien stuff.
The sci-fi.
Sci-fi stuff is what scared the shit out of me.
Killer clowns from outer space.
There used to be this. Okay, so I'm gonna really throw this one. There was a really. It's like now I've seen the movie. Like all the shit that used to scare me when I was 12. I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like if I ever go back and watch these things, there's this one. There was this one B grade horror movie, and it was called Without Warning, and it was like an alien. It was an alien that was the killer, right? Yeah. But he had these like flying discs that looked like little mini pizzas, and like to kill you and like fling them at you, and then you're like, eat your face, kind of thing. That scared me when I was a kid. Now I'm like, I laugh my ass off that I even was ever scared at that. Alien obviously was like the end of the world for me.
I was never scared of slasher films, like the 80s, 90s slasher films.
Yeah, because it was a person.
Yeah, but The Exorcist got me.
Yeah, that scared me for you know, got me. The Exorcist was not something that I really got in because it happened before my time.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But Damien, the Omen movies. Oh God.
Yep. That little kid.
The second movie, and the guy, I forget the black doctor or something gets killed because like he falls down this elevator shaft, right? He's in the elevator and gets to the bottom, and the guy's like, whew, he's okay. And then all of a sudden the counterbalance, the counterweights of the elevator comes shooting down. It cuts the elevator in half and cuts him in half. I was like, oh my God, because you thought everything was okay, right? That's the kind of shit that gets me. Right? Oh, everything's fine. No, he's gonna die. The only other movie that gave me like that kind of feeling was Final Destination.
I was about to say that.
Final Destination, and I saw that when I was as an adult too. And I thought that was pretty good.
For me, it was the third movie when they had the roller coaster.
Yeah,
that shit got me because I love roller coasters. I was like, God damn it.
Okay, final thought on this: horror movies. Scary movies in general. Like there's a difference between horror and like being frightened. When I was again on art history, when I was taking film classes for my BFA, we had to actually watch Alien. And the reason we did is because we were looking at the connection between the psychological aspect of it and fear. And if you go and you look at and they did this on purpose, like Dan O'Bannon and Ron Shusett, they were the writers of it, and then also Ridley Scott. Okay. Ridley Scott knows how to make a scary fucking movie. Okay. because what he does is he plays on all human fears. There's claustrophobia in it. There's fear of the unknown. There's the animal in the darkness that's there's no possible way you can win. It's going to tear you limb from limb. So if you look at all the ways that you can make a human being scared, that movie covers every aspect of that. That's why it was so and the shit coming out of like stuff in you that comes out, that's a human fear kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
God.
It's like The Thing for me.
Yeah. Oh, The Thing was that was amazing. Another one that was really the one with the original 82.
Yes,
one
82
with Kurt Russell was in that.
Kurt
Oh
Russell.
God, that was a great movie. But yeah, that was an interesting time. Oh, and then final thought. So my daughter brought this up. Actually, we watched The Conjuring. Now we watched that as an adult, right? My daughter was really freaked out by it, right? She's a teenager when she watched it, and we were watching that, and she goes, you know what? Movies were scarier in the 70s and the 80s, and I go, yeah, because we didn't have this.
Yeah,
we didn't have the like if something scary happens, or it's like, you want to know why I don't necessarily believe aliens have visited. I play around with Mike like they have, right? But because we have this. Like this has basically cell phones have ruined horror movies. Because if something like scary or something like out of ordinary happened, the first thing everybody does is take it out. Right? You can't even go to a concert without everybody,
recording and everything.
So the reason why like the very first Stranger Things, when it was spelling out "run" on the lights and stuff like that, that's straight out of, I forget which horror movie that was out of, but it's like. It might have been like Nightmare on Elm Street or
Shining
something.
with Red
Shining, yeah. But the reason why it was scary is because we didn't have the technology to know it shouldn't be scary.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Did you buy Playboy for me yet? Playboy for you yet? I don't know why I would need to buy you Playboy. Hi Rollo. When does it make the most sense to let a girl know that marriage in the formal sense is off the table for you, and how would you go about it? Thanks always. I would never make a formal declaration of it. It's, again, demonstrate, do not explicate. If you're not marriage minded, I would, first of all, what I would do is this. Okay. Do you want ethical game, or do you want me to just tell you how to do it? Okay. Ethical game would be like, you're dating a lot of people. Okay. Now this is the Rollo Tomassi school of spinning plates here. Spinning plates is not like, don't get hung up on the euphemism of spinning plates. It's non-exclusivity is what it is. It's you're dating non-exclusively. You're dating the same way that women would, right? You're basically exploring your options. And I think men should do this. Okay. You should not be exclusive with anyone, and you should have a lot of irons in the fire. Okay. Now, if one of those irons seems to outshine the rest of them, then by all means, go with what seems the most natural. If you're not into a long-term relationship, if you're not into a marriage, I would say at some point along the way, you will determine that she is and you aren't. If you ever get to that point, the ethical thing to do is to say, look, say, hey, I'm not, maybe time, since you asked me about time frame, the ethical thing to do is once you figure it out, like she's dating with intent and you aren't, then put it on the table and say, I'm not down with this. I'm going to date other people. Or maybe you are still seeing other people. This is why I keep saying, you need to date non-exclusively. You need to have a lot of plates spinning, irons in the fire, however you want, whatever euphemism you want to use. But what I would suggest, I mean, from a practical, pragmatic point of view, in this case, the pragmatic position is also the ethical position, which is you may as well say, look, this is not what I'm about, and be pragmatic about the whole thing, and just say, hey, it's all above board. I'm going to see other people, but I like seeing you too. And I'm not saying that in the future things might not change, but that's where I'm at right now. I don't think a lot of people really and also things to watch out for. Once you have that conversation, it's usually what I call the talk. Like women will find some way to institute the talk. The talk is always, where is this going? Are we official yet?
What are we?
What are we? What am I to you? Like there's, by the way, if you're the guy and you're saying that, it's over. Just eject now. If that even occurs to you. And no, I should ask her where we're at. Are we official? If you're a dude and you're asking that, it's over. Here's your answer. Eject. Next. Okay. But when a woman does that, it's called the talk. The talk is she's getting to the point where her investment in you is starting to not be worth the rewards. Okay. You got to remember it's cost to reward, cost to benefit analysis is what that is. The talk only comes from a cost to benefit analysis. And I know, oh, that sounds so inhuman. He's talking about sexual marketplaces and value and people and everything. Like, yeah, I am. And women will be the most relentless, most, brutally mercenary when it comes to stuff like this. They say it won't be you that brings it up. It'll be her, because she's the one who says, you know what? I don't know where this is going, and I'm still good looking. And if this guy's not in it for the long haul, then I need to, resuscitate what I have left and see if I can find a better option than this guy. That's where it comes from. Women stick with guys because they think that they have potential. But if that guy who has potential is not marriage minded, is not baby minded, is not future minded, at least with her anyways, that's when women's sexual capital investment versus sticking it out with a guy who has potential starts to the math doesn't add up anymore. So what's Rollo talking about? Well, between the ages of 18 and 28, that's women's party years, right? That's when they're in their peak. Peak's right about 23, right? Would you like me to show you the thing again? Here, this is it. There you go. If you look at the pink bell curve right there, right about the middle, that's the peak span, right? Okay, 23 years old. Once she's on the downside of that and it falls off at about 30, which, by the way, is the average age of first marriage, at some point along that decline right there, that's when you're going to get the talk, because she has to still be able to recover some of that market value as she's on the decline. Men, on the other hand, are on their ascendancy if they are maximizing their potential. I didn't say all guys do. I'm just saying if the guy is on track to being a high value man, odds are it's probably going to be by the time he gets to be 34, 36, 37 years old. Right? So during that span right there, from the drop for women to the inclination, the incline for men, that's when you're going to get the talk, because women want to be able to still hang on to enough of that sexual agency so they can get with a guy who she can be 30, 35, 40 years old, have babies with, and go off into perpetuity. Okay. That's when you get shit like that. Okay. Let's see. Oh, let me take that off. There we go. Hi, Rollo. When does it make the most sense to okay, so I already got to you. The time to make the most sense is when you're getting the talk. And up until that point, it's better to play the game and play it well, and then let her figure out that you're not that. Never was it's a iron rule of Tomassi. I want to say it's number 8. It's either 8 or 9. No, it's 8. Never tell a girl why she shouldn't fuck you. Always let her find out for herself, right? Never do it for her. Basically, don't shoot yourself in the foot. And this is a version of that. Once you start talking about once you reveal the red pill, right? Once you never give a woman an occasion to never do it for her, right? Let a woman figure out why she won't fuck you. Don't do it for her. I mean, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Just go with it until such time as she says, okay, we're going to have the talk. And that's the most beneficial time. Dating Brett Cooper is like dating Ben Shapiro with a vagina. Are they related? Somebody told me they were related. I don't believe them. Went to D&B Friday and was dumber than I remember. Considering how you're spelling. Funny, all the hot girls were huddled together in a corner gossiping about the guys' sizes. Yeah, well, I can tell you, man, women talk, men do. Part of that talk is how big your cock is, or how much you've changed, or he has visible abs, or wow, if you don't want him, I do, girl. Look at his butt. Like you want to know, like I have been around enough women at these events that I've been to with Mike, or in Wet Republic, or at Babes in Toyland, or at the Bunny Ball, shit like that. You give girls an occasion to get together and to get them they don't have to be liquored up. Just give them a little pre-boozing, right? I love it when guys they're not as, women are more sexual than guys are. Like, yeah, they really are. You just have to fucking let them do it. Looking to read The Player's Handbook and The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. In what order would you recommend them? Read my book first. and not because I'm trying to sell you a book, but because Robert Greene's Art of Seduction is okay. I like it for what, like, a lot of people hate it. They think it's like, it's worthless. I'm not one of those people. I think it has some merit to it. I just think that it relies too heavily on characterizations, on archetypes. So, but read Player's Handbook first, because Player's Handbook is not really the same thing as Art of Seduction. It's not a how-to book. It's a why it works book. So if you ever wondered why a neg hit would work, it's in that book. If you ever wonder why Amuse Mastery or Agree and Amplify or Cocky and Funny, why no woman would ever respond to it? Yes, they would. And here's the psychological principles as to why that would work. That's what the Player's Handbook is about. It's not a how-to book. It's a why it works book. What about Alpha's Kicking Friends to the Curb, DHV? Which friends? Like guy friends? I don't necessarily think that's a demonstration of higher value, but I think that if a guy is kicking a friend to the curb, was he really his friend? Or why would you do that? I would need to know what the extenuating circumstances are. And Carl Bennington, I'm really wondering if you're like, if you're giving me these questions in good faith. Do men do shit tests consciously and women do shit tests consciously and subconsciously? Both. The answer is both. I would say every woman should know what that happiness is approximate goal, not an ultimate goal. Yeah, good luck selling that. I think you're right. I agree with that, Rational Agent. The thing is like you can't sell self-help books on impermanency. Okay, you can't sell. You won't be selling Prozac. You won't be able to get prescriptions for antidepressants and Adderall and lithium. Yeah, lithium. Yes, you don't sell those things if women don't believe that there's something functionally wrong with them because they can't achieve and maintain contentment. Now, here's how lady, where am I? Which one is it? This one. Ladies, if you would really like to be content, learn this very simple lesson. There's no such thing as contentment. Simple as that. Happiness is a proximate goal, not an ultimate goal. You don't be happy. You will never, ladies, here, I'm going to get really, really negative with you. You will never be happy. Ladies, you will never, ever, ever, ever be happy. And that's a good thing because that's contentment. Okay. Happiness is not something we are or we be. It is something that we do, because happiness is an approximate outcome, not an ultimate outcome. You do things that make you happy. You don't go places and find some nirvanic state where you be happy. You do happy, because emotions are meant to prompt you from one state to another. Usually it's for survival or it's for reproduction. Okay. So we're happy because it's something that is going to help us survive, or it's something that's going to help us fuck. Those are really the two things. Now you can make the build on top of that with more complex emotions and more, you can define it however you want to. Things make me happy, right? I don't do happy. Like I like playing guitar. That makes me happy to be playing guitar. I don't go, oh, I play guitar, therefore I have entered the state of blissful happiness. No, I am happy while I am doing it, and then I move on to the next activity. That's something that is intrinsically rewarding. Okay. Now, anxiety, sadness, depression, those emotions also have the same fucking function. They are proximate. They are meant to say, you know what? This is an unsustainable state. We're not going to survive if we don't get the fuck out of here. I am anxious. I am angry. I am whatever the emotion is that prompts you from one state to the next. That is a proximate goal or a proximate outcome. You don't do happy. You don't, I should say, you do happy. You don't be happy. You're not depressed. You're doing depressed. So there you go.
Isn't that the same reason they tell when you retire, you're older, to get a hobby?
Yes, yeah. Because there's a Japanese word. It's called ikigai. And that ikigai is, I believe the literal translation is a reason to live. The things that you do that make life worth living. Like they turn it into like, this sort of like Zen functional, thing. But, but from a psychological perspective, it's true. Okay. There are things that you'd find intrinsically rewarding. Like, for instance, you want to know why Brett Favre played football for as long as he did, and then he came out of retirement and played again? Because he was happy when he was on a fucking field throwing, like, at his age, throwing as far as he could. Why the fuck wouldn't you? He just, or the same thing with Tom Brady. You know why Tom Brady, like, he's like, well, fuck it. He could have retired.
Yeah.
He could have retired right after the Patriots. He could have, but he didn't. He took it. Gronk said, let's go down to fucking Florida.
Fuck it, we ball and Super Bowl champions later.
Florida. Yeah, exactly. You got a friend like Gronk taking you down to Tampa.
Oh my.
Yeah. You know, and you know it's funny? Gronk retires the same day. Because they both loved it and they could keep doing it. And why wouldn't you do it? Because it's what made them happy. The problem is like when they walk off the field, even if you got a whole handful of Super Bowl rings, you're an MVP, you're going into the fucking Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is not as fun as winning a fucking Super Bowl, or the process of winning a Super Bowl.
Memories versus doing
right experience, right? It's experiential, and people would really. I'm going to ruin the antidepressant market by saying this, which is the reason why you're depressed is because you haven't moved from one state to the next. You need to figure out what you want to do, and that's what it is. So when people say, well, the biggest lie we have, so the biggest lie we've ever sold women is the idea that they can find this permanent state of fucking blissful, joyful happiness. Fuck you. That's a bad idea. That's stagnation is what that is. We do happy. The reason why people like hate that so much is because they don't know what to do with themselves. Boredom is your reason. Yeah, complacency loves company. Let's see. They're the only people that hate us are not the guys that have been destroyed. You saved my life, Rollo, and my life is 5,000 times better since I've read your books. Thanks, brother. No single moms ever again. Bravo.
Yeah.
Let's all have a moment of silence for Roy. Good for you, man. See, that's what I want to hear. What makes Rollo happy? Reading tweets reading responses like this, super chats like this make Rollo happy. Biden's out, Kamala's in. What say you? Okay, do we need to get to that part of the show? Kamala's not in. I said it. I said it. Kamala's not in. There's no way they're going to go with Kamala. Camel toe, they're not going to go with Kamala. She can't win. There's no earthly way she can win. And I think even the powers that be that have been actually running this country for the last 3.5 years, they know this too. There's no effing way Kamala is ever going to win against Donald Trump, especially after an assassination attempt. Not going to happen. Never. They say, never say never. I'm saying never. It will never fucking happen.
Let's just bring up her court cases. That's it.
But they know she can't win. They might okay, if they're going to all the trouble to convince Biden to leave the race, to get out of the race, because the guy's had Asperger's, he's had Alzheimer's since day one, which is what I've been saying since he took office in 2020. And by the way, let me tell you, now that I have the chance to say this, because I've been saying, I need to reiterate this, but I've been saying this since 2020. The guy, like anybody who has had to deal with and help an elderly parent who has been dealing with Alzheimer's dementia, like my father died from Alzheimer's dementia, anyone who has had to deal with that sees those behaviors and those speech patterns and everything else. They see that in Biden and they're like, what the? They're like, John Travolta and Pulp Fiction, what the fuck? And so what kills me is we have played along for the last 3.5 years that this guy has the cognitive ability to actually, I don't know, make decisions for the U.S. population. No, he hasn't. His handlers have. The people who own him have. I don't know who they are, but I don't even know if he can even fucking sign his name anymore. By the time my dad was like at the latter stages of Alzheimer's dementia, he couldn't remember my name. He couldn't remember his grandchildren. He couldn't remember his dog's name, right? And it's sad as fuck to see, but you understand, like when you see Alzheimer's dementia and you deal with it on a daily basis and you're trying to care for an elderly parent that has this, you know the fucking signs. I saw it from fucking day one. I'm like, this guy is fucked up. There's no way. He should be in an assisted living facility, not the White House. And so whenever I hear Tim Pool or one of these other guys, Rogan or whoever else, want to say, well, you know, Biden today signed into law this thing. No, he didn't. He didn't sign jack shit. He didn't. He doesn't even. It's not even. He didn't even know what today is. He doesn't know if it's Tuesday or Saturday. Like, Jesus Christ! And so the guys who are like playing along with this, you're the fucking problem. Not him. You are the problem because you're the ones who fucking bought into it and sold it. Even if you're against Biden, you're still selling him because you bought into this bullshit. And here it is, black and white, July of 2024. Oh, I guess like you couldn't really remember his name when he was going up against Trump. Of course, he couldn't do it like back in 2020 either. But you bought into it. You're the one who promoted this. Even the people who were against Biden promoted his bullshit. And now the fucking chickens have come home to roost, and it ain't going to be fucking Kamala. You know what it's going to be? Gavin Newsom, baby. Gavin Newsom is the
dictator of California.
He's the Antichrist, dude. He looks like fucking Damien the Omen.
Yeah. All grown up.
Yes, it's like the final conflict.
The final chapter.
Six. It's all burning sixes and stuff like that. Yes. I'm telling you, man, Gavin Newsom's going to be the one. Who else? Who else could it be? Who else has the charisma?
Honestly, I can't see anybody else.
I'll tell you who doesn't. Kamala Harris does not have the charisma. Now, she might, if she's on the ticket at all, she'll be a vice president.
Yes.
At all. Like, who else could it be? People are saying it's going to be Hillary. I don't think it's going to be Hillary. Hillary can't win. She can't possibly win. And another thing is she's hella old too, right? So you got hella old Trump, like complete mental decay. Like his brain is like crusty flakes. Biden, right?
Yeah.
And then you got Kamala, who's just like she can't even believe she's there. I'm sure. So who else could it possibly be? Well, it's going to be the guy who's slicker than goose shit, and that's going to be Gavin Newsom. And by the way, if it's not Gavin this year, it'll probably be in the next election cycle for sure. But I'm already seeing pictures of Gavin all over the place. That's where I pulled that picture from, the family photo. They're already circulating it. For fuck's sake, am I the only one that sees this? Yeah, it's not, trust me, it's not going to be Kamala. Although I did predict that it would be at some point. And by the way, I was right in that. She was the very first female president.
Yeah.
You know how?
How?
Because Biden had to go under surgery.
Yes.
And they had to put him out. And when a sitting president, it goes under anesthesia and is knocked out, they have to swear in the vice president as the standing president. So technically speaking, I was correct in a roundabout way. Kamala Harris was the very first female president, first black female president too.
Yeah.
I win. How Ro know if she is a virgin? Before getting intimate with her to select and not invest emotional in a woman. Okay, Spaceman, come back after your ESL courses. Okay. Jesus Christ. Why do you care? My dad, 72, resisted my red pill conversations for years. Recently, he started telling me about these videos he likes on YouTube. Turns out it was Kevin Samuels. Oh, really? He's finally getting it. Thanks for your help. You are welcome, J-Pot. I'm glad I could help. I'm glad Kevin Samuels could help too. 35-year-old engineer, single dad, dating a 23-year-old. It's not that big of a deal. It's great. Calls guys her age weak. Go to the gym, boys. Yes. Go to the fucking gym. Go to the TT fucking gym. FG. There you go.
I had a client back when I used to do landscaping. He got it through a divorce, and weirdly enough, we did both people's houses. She got left with the house, all this other stuff. He moved in right next door. Has a hotter wife, freaking doing better. He's yoked out of his mind right now, too.
Dude.
I'm like, and he's making more money. So I'm like,
I keep telling you guys, the secret to a healthy marriage is to stay in shape and fuck a lot. Is that what you do? Yes, I do. Why don't you run for president and change the system? Dude, you do not want me for president. Because I'll tell you the first thing I would do. Here's why he's like, people, if I was president, this is the first thing. No, you wouldn't, because nobody would let you do what you think you're going to do.
Rational male taught his curriculum.
Yes. Somebody told me that, is it JD Vance? Is he the
yeah?
Somebody told me he was part of like the Red Pill Reddit or something like that, or that he's a Red Pill guy.
I need to look into that.
JD Vance, Red Pill. See if you can find it. Gavin Newsom looks and behaves like the Joker without makeup. Yeah. And he's got that laugh too. Yeah. How about them Dems with run with a random hot chick? That would be a better selection than everything else that they've got right now. Carl Bennington, here's that attention you wanted. Default on the debt and bring economy to surplus. You will never, in the days that you live, see the economy in a surplus, my friends. Those days are, you know why? Because we're a fiat currency. It will never happen. It will never, ever. See, they say never say never. I'm saying never. All right, so let's move on a little bit here. We're kind of running out of time. I got 20 minutes left, but I can't keep Kyle here too long today. So I'm going to throw out a few things here. I think a lot of people don't think that I actually. Let me see if I can start this. People have asked me in the past. They said, "Rollo, when are you going to write The Rational Female?" I'm like, that's an oxymoron. No, but I don't need to, because the rational male is the rational female. Like, that's going to teach you, like, anything I could write out for women, it's already been written out for men. And so, because it's not necessarily a gendered thing, right? Understanding the red pill, women, it's not that women can't. Like, women, I've said this in the past. I said women are red pill. They're already red pill. It's just getting them to accept it. That's the trick. They'll be the first ones to tell you about, like, where did I learn hypergamy from? From women. Where did I learn the difference between assortative mating and hypergamy? From women, from behaviors, from watching, from being observant, from taking mental notes and writing shit down. But long story short, exactly. Thank you, Karen. You know what? I love you. This is so good. Thank you. Yin and yang. We are innate natural complements to one another. And I wish we could see that a little bit more. Now, people want to go, "Oh, Rollo's getting simpy." No, I'm not getting simpy. I'm just pointing out the obvious here. Men and women evolved to be natural, innate complements to one another. I don't know if I can find it. I've got a study. So it's kind of an older study though, but they've done fMRI scans, actually probably even more than that, but fMRI scans of men's brains and women's brains. And if you look at the synaptic connections between men's brains and women's brains, if you lay them over the top of each other, the synapses, which were weak in one area, are strengthened in the other. So if you look and you lay the synaptic fMRI scans of a man's brain and a woman's brain, you lay them on top of one another, then you can see that each one complements where the other one sort of has a deficit, the other one complements that. Now, am I saying that, that's some, we were made this way? I'm not saying it's not some like religious thing. I'm just saying that this is what I see, and this is what researchers have seen as well. So when I look at that, I mean, you could say, well, that's proof. I don't say it's proof, but it's definitely a correlation, put it that way. But it sort of backs up what I've always said, which is we're better together than we are apart. And I think a lot of people are making a very big deal lately about how the division between men and women has been exacerbated in certainly the last decade, let's say. Now, whenever I read these stories, it's because, those red pill guys are divisive and everything. I was like, well, I've been married for 28 years. I don't think that's really fair. Okay. Or people will say, like, when I was talking about the guy who is the quote unquote shooter of Trump, right? The assassin. I still have my reservations about that, but I was right about one thing. They did try to turn him into an incel, and they still are. They're still working at it, but I think pretty much and by they, I mean the media at this point, have more or less cast this 20-year-old kid. They can't get into his phone. I watched. Did you watch the Joe Rogan thing where they were talking about it? They can't get in the kid's really. The FBI and the NSA and all these guys can't break into this 20-year-old kid's phone.
They have a back door.
Really? Get the fuck out of here. But they were able to find out that he was stroking off to like Pornhub before he went out there. That they found his browser history, but they can't get into his phone.
He needed that.
Oddly enough, he was stroking off to porn. Therefore, he must be an incel.
His last Google search.
And I was, and I hate to I don't want to go all Alex Jones or anything like that, but like when I was talking about the incel research that Will Costello did, and Alex from Date Psych backed up, and fucking Chris Williamson backed up, and even Not So Erudite and the rest of these people are connected with fucking Progressive Victory. They're all interconnected, but it's neither here nor there. But I would say this is that it's very convenient that the FBI, as far back as November of last year, decided that they were going to make incels and incel.co and the forums and stuff like that national terrorist, like domestic terrorist threats. And here we are. We've got a kid who's supposedly have a kid who's 20 years old, had the foresight to go and carry a big ass fucking ladder up to some sort of warehouse sized building, throw it up there in broad daylight. By the way, would have had to have driven it there, carried that fucking ladder across the field to get there with an AR, was it 5.56 or 5.56 slung across his back with a rangefinder, by the way, and a scope and everything else that was needed to make a shot at 140 yards, fucking incredible shot at 140 yards. Several shots, I should say, not even just one, but just the one that clipped Bush, who clipped Trump. And you're going to tell me you can't get into his phone, but he fits the profile of an incel because he was stroking off to porn before he went and did all of this damage. For what reason, we have no idea. At 20 years old. Sorry if that doesn't gel with me. And that's why I said, like, when all this went down, because remember, I did the show, like, was it last week? When I did the show where I was saying, now is the time to pay attention to how the media is going to play this out, because everything's in the larval stage. Nothing's like set in stone just yet. And I was right about this. They're trying to paint this kid as an incel. And if they do, they'll just say so and leave it alone and move on to the next thing. The fact of the matter is that there was an attempt on the life of a former sitting president. That's the operative in all of this. They want to blame it on incels, and they won't. But of course, now they're justified. Now the DHS is, of course, justified in spending all this money trying to repress my material and divert our traffic and do everything else and designate incels as domestic terrorists. Right now, they're all justified in this, or they were trying to set it up all to begin with. I don't know. I'm not going to say. That's speculation. Got it? However, the fact of the matter is if the opposition, the people who got behind this assassination attempt, by the way, Destiny is fucking melting down over this whole.
I think he got demonetized.
Dude, he got demonetized. He got banned from, like, he was already banned from Twitch because that's how he moved over. He got banned off a Kick. How do you get banned off a fucking Kick? How? I could go up there and talk about bitches and hookers and sex workers and porn stars and anal sex, and I couldn't get banned off a Kick. Jesus Christ, man. I know. And I think, by the way, you see the true nature of Destiny and all of this. I mean, I've been saying this since day one, that the guy is like, he's a high functioning autistic spurg is what he is, and has been this way for a long time. And it takes events of this caliber and of this high anxiety to sort of bring that out in pathological personalities who are clinically, have clinical personality disorders. He was supposedly going at, like, and the thing is like he doubles down on it too.
And Pierce Morgan
had him on, and I saw that thing. I saw that one with Pierce Morgan, and it was Destiny, Dave Rubin, and I forget who the chick was. And there's another dude that was on there as well. Of course, Destiny is just like, it's like fast forward on a tape and shit like that. And, I'm watching this. And of course, all Destiny does when he gets backed into a corner, he just filibusters. He just tries to run the clock out.
Running in circles.
Yeah, he just filibusters. And I want to also point out that this is Pierce Morgan ain't off the hook for this. Pierce Morgan just wanted to bring him on so he could scold him.
Yeah.
Like, we're upstanding, members of society, and how dare you talk about the firefighter that was shot, blah, blah, blah. Pierce Morgan, you're the motherfucker that brought this son of a bitch on your show with Tommy Lahren to discuss the ins and outs and the intricacies of Palestine versus Israel. You're the motherfucker that propped this guy up. Mm-hmm. Pierce fucking Morgan. You're the guy that gave this guy legitimacy. And anybody else who gave this motherfucker legitimacy, you're on the hook too. That's everybody. That's Valuetainment. That's Fresh and Fit. That's fucking Pierce Morgan. That's Lex Friedman. That's anybody who brought this son of a bitch on their show. And you know why you brought him on there? Because you wanted fucking clout. And here it is. It's coming back to fucking bite you in the ass. I said this from day fucking one. No, it's just business. No, it's not fucking business when this guy is talking shit about guys dying. That's how fucked up in the head he is. And people want us, you got Pierce Morgan who wants to get on there. You know why he had him on there? So he could scold him, so people wouldn't remember the fact that he legitimized this son of a bitch. That's why.
PR.
It's PR. It's all fucking playing games, dude. It's all brinksmanship is what it is. So fuck you, Pierce Morgan. And I'll be the first person to tell you that right to your face on your show, dude. You're the one that fucking won the clout. You're the one. Oh, he's got clout, so I'm going to have him on the show with fucking Tommy Lahren of all people. Tommy Lahren and Destiny know enough about Israel and Palestine to be fucking expert like witnesses for this shit. Get the fuck out of here. They don't know anything. They don't have fucking degrees in poli-sci. I don't think Tommy Lahren does. He's got a degree in cosmetology. I don't know. But Jesus fucking, what the hell, man? Yeah, it's you have to point this shit out when it happens, because if you don't point it out when it happens, it just blows by and people they scroll on to the next fucking story. Pierce Morgan is just fucking doing damage control because he gave this guy legitimacy on his very big platform. So yeah, shame on you, fucking Pierce Morgan. Oh, let's get that Rollo guy on. Fuck you. I don't want to be on your fucked up show. I didn't tell you that. I got a while back. I think it was back in March, February or March. I got a call from them or an email saying that they possibly wanted me on the show. I'm like, you can fly me out to fucking UK then. Yeah. I'm not going to do it remote. I'm not going to, Never happened. I never heard from them again. It was funny because it was at the same time all that shenanigans were going on with the fucking Daily Wire trying to use my fucking name to get like James Sexton on a show with Pearl. That's that basically I saw Pearl a mile away on that whole fucking thing. You know what? If I've been right about Destiny, do you not think I might be right about Pearl? Do you think that I might not be right about some of the other guys that I talk about? And again, you have to hit this when it happens. That's why I said right the day after the shooting, I said, watch the progression of this. It's important if you want to remember how this shit gets played out. Because if they're going to make an attempt, and I kind of hate to get political, but if they are willing to make an attempt, whoever they are, you can decide who they are. But if someone is willing to make an attempt on President Bush's, or how do I say President Trump's life, if they're willing to do that, do you think that they're willing to allow like legitimate elections?
Yeah.
Do you think that they're like, if they will go to that extreme, do you think that like it's a piece of cake to fucking do voter fraud?
I mean, they want to let all these immigrants vote with no citizenship. Like,
yeah, but my point of like when in 2022, like if you look, somebody sent this to me. I don't have it on tap right now, but somebody sent me this. It was a FBI, CIA. It's still online, I think, but it's this breakdown of the voter fraud that took place in the Ukraine during like 2006 in the 2006 elections.
David Steele,
it might have been, but it ran down all these methods that were used by the Ukrainian government, because I think it was Yurkashenko or something. I forget the guy's name, but anyways, there was massive voter fraud in the Ukraine during 2006. Mm-hmm. And so they basically had like a bullet points. Here's how they went and did it. Mail-in ballots. Like everything we started doing in 2020 was basically a checklist of everything that they said was voter fraud in the Ukraine at that time. And I brought this up then, and I'll bring it up again. We still have no real regulation. We have no real checks and balances in our voting process now. We can put a lander on the fucking surface of several landers on the surface of Mars and stream 4K live streaming video back from another planet, but we can't figure out how to have like fair elections. Get the fuck out of here. Or no, I mean, we live in Las Vegas. I can go because I used to work, people don't know this, I used to work for IGT, International Game Technology. There are more regulations and checks and balances on the the average video poker, video slot machine at MGM or fucking Caesars, which is right over here. There are more regulations on those gambling devices than are on your fucking most sacred right. Your ability to have a fair election. They're more concerned about if you got a jackpot, it's a real jackpot and not a fucking something didn't go wrong, right? They're more concerned about that than they are about your voting process. And you know what? Been that way for a long time. Been that way really since Bush, since 2000. Right? When we got the debold machines and everybody was going to go in there, it was no longer a paper ballot. It was like go in and check and now it's like everybody wants to say. That's why I laugh when people go like, "Oh, vote, vote, vote." You got to get out. You got to get the vote out. Like when Progressive Victory, like we're going to go canvassing and go to door and knock on doors and get people to vote. It's like vote. Mail in. Well, how are we going to vote? It's compromised and has been compromised for a long time. So until a candidate comes up, who I'll vote for? The first motherfucker that says, you know what, we really need to clean up our fucking our voting process, and we really need to make it completely 100% transparent and bulletproof. And you know what? Would not take more than like 6 to 8 months, maybe a year to do it. Seriously, honestly, technologically speaking, I'd say no more fun. You want to vote, you go to the fucking polls and you do just like we've always done it before.
Yep.
Stupid. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Someone has to check in on James Sexton. Why? Oh no, he's disappeared. Like, no, James actually has a real job. He's not like the rest of us schmucks. Okay. It's funny. James watches my show. He'll probably call me up and go, "Hey man, I'm sort of sorry I've been out of action," because he's busy making money in the divorce industry is what he's doing right now. Yes. I wouldn't. Don't worry about him. Yeah, somebody has to check on Tanner Guzzi. That's for damn sure. God, sorry, Newt. Yeah. There was a time where I would have not cared anything about Tanner, but now I kind of do, because I did like Tanner back in the day. Tanner, if you guys don't know who Tanner Guzzi is, he's the author of a really great book, one really great book, which was The Appearance of Power. Really great. It's about style and why men actually do care about the way they look. But he's Mormon, and when I first met him, he had just got out of a divorce, which was strange to me because I didn't think Mormons would divorce. He got out of a divorce. He was with his new wife, and he was having babies, and she was just about to have her 7th baby, and now they're getting divorced again. And of course, he's love springs eternal, and he still believes in marriage and everything else. And I'm like, good for you, but you're responsible for 7 children right now, and your wife wants to divorce you in the Mormon church. So yeah, I don't mean to be flippant about that. I really am concerned about him. I like the guy well enough that I would want to check up on him. But Tanner Guzzi, man, that was old school, man. He was from the 21 convention days. In fact, he was the one that convinced me to do the 21 convention, as I remember. But yeah, all right. Where are we at? We're almost at 3. All right. So here's the deal. Ladies, very easy. You want to keep a man? You want to have a good, healthy relationship? Here's how you do it. Stay in shape. Fuck him. Suck his dick. That's all you have to do. Seriously. Well, you have to feed him, and you have to be insightful, and you have to be a good nutrient. No, that is correct. After you stay in shape and you fuck him, then everything else is easy after that. Guys, here's how you stay in a good relationship. Do one of these. Which way is the beach? That way. Stay in shape. I am 56 years old. Okay. Yes, I do TRT and some peptides. Some peptides. Stay in shape and fuck your wife. Seriously, just fuck your wife. Please do it. And insist that she fuck you. Yep. That's all it comes down to, really. Genuine desire. Genuine desire is the cornerstone. You want to know what is the most sustaining element of a healthy relationship? Genuine desire that leads to long-term sex and wanting to stay in shape for that other person, right? You need to be the Eva Mendes to your Ryan Gosling and vice versa. That's how it works out. Now, what comes after that? Well, what you need to find a good girl you need to vet these girls so that you can find out who's a quality girl and who's I'm going to explain to you. Here we are at the end. You guys stuck around. How many I got? 25, 50, 35 right now. Here's the good stuff. The good stuff you've been waiting for. I met my wife at a club after a gig. At a club at a night. Well, it's kind of like a bar and grill, I guess. Maybe it's unfair to call it a club, but it was at a gig. Okay. She was on a girls' night out. You're not supposed to meet girls at the clubs. You only meet degenerate whores. Degenerate whores. You only meet those at clubs, right? Sorry, I didn't meet her at Bible study. I didn't meet her at Barnes and Noble or the college book. You know what's funny is that my borderline personality disordered girlfriend, the one that I always talk about all the time, I met her in the college bookstore. It was the opposite. I got fucked. You guys told me one thing I just did was untrue. Oh, wait, there's Tori. Wait, Tori, come back here. Tori's my sister wife. She's going to be moving in with us soon. She knows what I mean. So met her at a club. I'll tell you, would you like me to tell you the full story? I'll tell you the full story, Kyle. Okay, so here's a full story. I was watching a friend's band play, and it was after our set, and I was waiting in line because I was drinking back then. I still drank back then. I was waiting in line to get a beer because it was a industry night or some shit like that. And this was in 1994, 95. And I was waiting to get a beer, and one of her friends comes over to me, and I had like my hair was longer. It was blonde then too.
Oh my God, I need to see a picture.
Oh, it's already it's up on my Instagram.
Oh, perfect.
I had very long blonde hair at the time. Like at this time, it was like down to my ass almost, right? That's when I could grow it all the way to my ass. I can't do it. I can't grow it as long as I used to. She was there. My wife was there, the wife to be. And she was there with her friends, and one of her friends comes over, and she was already shit-faced, and I didn't really want to talk to somebody who was like fucked up, right? But then she goes, "My friend really wants to talk to you, really wants to meet you, blah, blah, blah." And I thought she meant like Missy. I was like, she's like, "Oh, she's over here." I'm like, "Oh, all right, that's cool." But she wasn't pointing to her. She was pointing to one of her fat friends. I'm like, "Hi, how you doing?" I was trying to be, like I say, but if after 2 a.m., if you're the only sober guy in the club, it's like a superpower. I had a superpower then because I was sober at that point, right? And I was like, "Oh, yeah, she's nice." I said, "Can I get that blonde back there instead? Can I trade this the fat one for the blonde in the back?" And so she introduced me for a minute. We just talked very briefly, and then they moved on to a different club. And I was like, "Fuck that!" I didn't even get a beer. I just got left the thing. I went and followed her down to this other club, and I was at the point. It was like I was fresh out of that bad relationship with the BPD girl, and. I was dating there's other girls I was dating at the time, but I was like, she was the hottest thing I had seen. Certainly in that area, right? And I was like, I'm gonna go check this. I'm gonna go see if I can get this chick, right? And so I followed her down to this other club that we went to, and that's when I was just like, I had nothing to lose. You will be your bravest when you got nothing to fucking lose, man. And that's so that I said, "Hey, I think you're really attractive. I'd really like to get your number." And that's when a number close actually meant something, because there was no cell phones, Instagram, right? So you had to write it. You had to write it down on the back of a business card or something like that, and then you got a number, right? So that you could contact them, and if she was interested, that was great back then, because like you knew there was interest there. If she gave you her phone number, she wanted to see you. Like she was okay with you calling her later on. If not, she wouldn't have given it to you. So at least back in the day, like. You had some sort of comfort, like it was a yes is a yes and a no is a no, right? Mm-hmm. There's no numbers or no fucking, that's nothing going to happen, right? So she did. And then I dated her a couple times, and I was dating other people, and she was dating other people too.
Yeah.
Like I was spinning plates, and she was like I think she had like a couple of guys that she was seeing at the same time. And then we started dating, we started seeing each other a little bit more regularly. And we got to the point where we were seeing each other like, she was seeing me like exclusively, and I was not. I was still like spinning plates at the same time. And then I think it was after we like knocked it out one night, and she goes, "I don't like the idea of you banging other chicks." She says, "So I want to be exclusive." She asked me to be exclusive. Okay. And I was like, she's asking me, like, I'm like, all right. And I said yes, because she was the hottest thing she was the hottest girl of the few that I was seeing at the time. Yeah. And then that's how it panned out. right? And then we discovered that we really like each other. We had a lot of things in common. We had a lot of similar beliefs. We're like, and she's a big goof and I'm a big goof too. And so it worked out pretty well. And so when people say, oh, she was the one, she was your soulmate, I'm like, no, I don't believe in soulmates, but we did click. I do believe that there's compatibility. Yeah. I think the soulmate in this, oh, she's the one. No, she's my one, there could be other ones, but it worked out pretty well. And it still worked out to today. And that's really how I met my wife, was at a club where they say you're not supposed to find quality women. Right. And, oh, she's drinking. Oh my God. It's like, grow the fuck up, for fuck's sake, man. I one of the things I'm gonna end with this. People need to stop taking themselves so goddamn fucking seriously, man. You want to know why everybody's so depressed and everything's so negative and everything's so fucking dark and everybody's like, oh man, we've never been in a worse situation. And what is it? Weak men create hard times, and hard times create good men, and good men create good times, and good times create weak men, and weak men create hard, into that whole fucking circle. And everybody thinks we're in some sort of like really depressive down cycle. And God bless him, I really like Ho Math, but like when Ho Math gets depressed, he starts tweeting shit like this. Yeah. Like, I can't believe anybody would want to go to a party these days because look what's happening. The world's going to hell. It's all on fire. This is fine. It's like, dude, go fucking see Lamb of God, man. Go fucking, why? Because you don't listen to death metal. That's why. That guy in the beginning of this, you don't listen to death metal. If you did, you would have a completely different outlook on life, right? You need to go to see a Steel Panther show, man. Go fucking see titties, man. Go have a fucking good time, for the love of Christ, man. I am so fucking sick of this. Oh, what are we going to do next? Oh, there's none of the girls like me, Rollo. Well, get out there and fucking do something. Go to the fucking gym. Like, listen to Papa Swolio. Go to the gym. I will guarantee you don't have to take TRT. You don't have to take gear. You don't have to take peptides. Nothing. Just go to the gym, man. Start going to the gym on the regular. And I'm not saying, oh, just lift, bro. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you go and lift, because not just so you put on muscle. It's just so you feel better. Yeah. That's what you want to know. Why people go, oh, those Red Pill guys, they just say go lift, right? Well, the reason we do is because that is what so much else hinges upon. It does. You feel better if you got endorphins running through your body, your bloodstream, that you did. Like you go and you what do they call it? A runner's high. Yeah, right? Yeah. Runners go, they get addicted to running. I don't know how, but they get addicted to running because they like the feeling of the high that they get afterwards, because they're all chock full of endorphins and everything else that comes along with that.
Raise your heart rate super high and see how you feel after.
Yeah, you do something physically, you're going to change things mentally as well. Yeah. You start getting in better shape. You start having a commitment to like your own physical health and everything. You get into a regular weight. You've already put yourself ahead of 75% of the US population, for Christ's sake. Like, go out and feel better. I hate this shit, man. It's like, oh, what they say, if you spend too much time on social media, like Twitter, like I do, you'll get depressed. And then when people go off of it and they take a break, like Zuby has done this before, he'll just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm off. I'm not going on any social media for a week. I'm just have a social media diet. Comes back, feels fucking great. Yep. You know why? Because you're not in this fucking depressive state, this constant state of anxiety and this constant state of depressiveness and everything else. And people say, well, you're just putting your head in the sand because things are really, really bad. I keep seeing like Ho Math come up with, and I like Ho Math stuff when he's not like, get over yourself, man. Like when he's all up in his fucking feels and everything. I'm like, dude, come to Vegas, Ho Math. I won't put your face on the screen. Just come to Vegas and we'll go to fucking Zook. Yeah. We'll go to Wet Republic. You'll see titties. You'll see fucking great chicks who like you might even be able to talk to, right? Like how do you like get people out of this fucking funk, man? It's not as bad as you fucking think it is. And I'm wondering if Trump gets elected, if people are going to go, oh man, we finally got some good times ahead of us, right? Yeah. If that's what it takes, fine. But just like, for Christ's sake, man, just get over yourselves. Get over this depressive. Like, you're not goth. I know goth people. They're happier than you are. I have a lot of friends who are like, got the wear the guy liner and everything. I have a lot of friends that are goth. They are more like mentally healthy than most people that I know online, man. Yeah, he is. I hate to do that because I like home math, but dude, just fucking relax. Hold my drink while I play this set. Thank you. Yeah, that was my compliance test back then. Nuke gets it. Surprised you haven't claimed it as the Rollo compliance test. It should be. Okay, you want to know the joke? Here's the joke. You know that? You don't know that one.
No, I don't.
Okay, so remember when I told you, like, when I was younger, like, you had to learn, if you had to learn game, you had to sort of learn it on the fly.
Yes.
There was no mystery method. There was none of this bullshit. So, like, people want to say, well, Rollo, how did you get like 41 lay count when you were back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Which is it's pretty excessive for that time period, right?
Yeah.
Well, I played in a band, so
I was about to say
that was number one. But I also figured out what worked for me. So I knew the type of girl that would, like, because I didn't have money. Yeah. I had a studio apartment in North Hollywood. I had a 1979 Toyota pickup truck with no tailgate. It had the net in the back. I had a Randall half stack. I had 2 guitars. I had my pedal effects. Those were my liquid assets back then. And this is like late 80s, early 90s, right? And so my dining room table was one of them big ass spools, where they had like the big cables that they would put on for the road construction. And I got more trim in that place than anywhere. So it's not about the money. It certainly wasn't about money at that time. So I had to figure out what worked for me. And one of the things that worked for my signature finishing moves, Nuke, was if I was going to play a set, and I would go, my habit was this. I would go into a club. I had to do sound check. I would go there, and I didn't have the money to, like, go driving around or whatever. So I usually stayed at the club until it was time for me to do a set, because I didn't have anywhere else to go, honestly. And so I go there and I wait till chicks would fall, and I'll go, okay, I like that one, whatever. And so I, like, sort of make the rounds and stuff.
Count.
Yeah, and then I would put, like, if I would find the one that I liked the best, and then so I start having a conversation with her, and if I had enough money to buy a drink for myself, I would. Usually, girls would buy me drinks. Well, you're a rock star, or a semi rock star as it is. That wasn't too uncommon back then, especially if a girl bought you a drink, you knew she was interested. Yeah, you kind of like, okay, that's an IOI if the girl buys you a drink. Okay. But if I had a drink, then my move was this, is like, I'd be like, okay, I would be talking to her and say, okay, I got my set's coming up. Watch my drink for me I'll be back since I'm done, kind of thing. If the chick was there after my set was done, and she was still there watching my drink, it was game on. I knew I was getting laid that night. I knew it, without fail, I would get laid. If the chick was gone and my drink was gone, I'm like, oh, well, I guess I struck out. That was it. And nowadays we call that a compliance test. I just did it because it just seemed like an easy, technique to use. Flip flop, Uncle Rollo dropping his ultimate guide for relationship guidance. Yes, thank you. The other thing I need to point out here at the end here as well is, first off, get over yourself. Like, stop being depressed. Really, that's all it did. You change your mind about yourself, because we need some fun. We need some optimism. We need some hope. We need some whatever. I brought this up on Access Vegas the other night, is when we were talking about astrology and crystals and like that. Like, we always get into this conversation. And so, and I know Mike wants to hack up and discuss when I say this, but I really feel this is true, is that there's a part of our brains, there's actually is a module or some part of our brains that is attenuated to us wanting to towards magical thinking, right?
Yeah.
So that we have to have imagination as human beings. Like, I pointed this out in my my 4th book in religion. What's more, like, they asked, was it Albert Einstein, what's more important, imagination or knowledge? And of course he says imagination, right? Like, no, they're both important. You have to have imagination so you can acquire knowledge, and you have to have knowledge so that you can imagine what is possible as according to that knowledge. So they're both symbiotic, right? They're both necessary. Of course, everybody wants to say, well, even the smartest guy in the world, like Albert Einstein, thinks imagination is more important. No, well, it's because he's got all this fucking knowledge, right? Yeah. He wouldn't have imagination if he didn't have the knowledge, and vice versa, right? So I point that out, and people want to say that I'm like really kind of like sympathizing with magical thinking. I'm not. I'm saying it's necessary to have imagination. it's necessary to have some kind of magical thinking, because human beings can't handle too much reality. And so how do we explain that? We explain it with magic.
Yep.
And what was I saying before? The scariest movies that we have took place when? They took place in the 70s, because we didn't have the knowledge of shit that we have now. We didn't have this, right? And if we wanted to, like, imagine this. How scary would Friday the 13th have been if every one of the, it's basically a snuff movie, right? So it's like every one of the victims had a cell phone. Go, okay, this motherfucker's right here. Go this way.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wait, I got GPS. Okay, I can avoid this ass. We can get off of Camp Crystal Lake or whatever. Here's the road out of here, right? But we didn't have that then. So the imagination is, this guy's going to rush out of the bushes and kill me with a chainsaw or some shit like that, right? So the idea of conceptualizing things, of being an artist, of being a musician, it requires imagination, and that imagination requires that module that's in our brain that attenuates us towards magical thinking. Can that be a detriment? Yes, absolutely. It's responsible for some of the worst atrocities in human history, but it's also necessary so that we have hope. It's also necessary so that we can believe that something else is possible. So what I was saying is, like, when the chick was talking about crystals and stuff like that. By the way, I got a crystal this weekend. So I got a free crystal this weekend at the crafts fair. Apparently it's charged too. I didn't have, with no extra money. They charged the crystal. I'm like, fuck, all right. I don't want to do it. I hope it doesn't die on me on the way home. But my point was this, is that the crystal itself, or the talisman, or whatever, the fetish, or the rabbit's foot, or whatever, it's just superstition, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the belief in it has power, has merit to it, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the actual, tchotchke.
I have
right?
a rabbit's foot. I'm gonna bring it next
Yeah,
time.
there you go. See? Show it to Mike. Hey,
It's the lucky podcast.
Do I believe in the magic? No, I don't. But I do understand that there is a necessity to believe in that, and so because that's what prompts us to imagine things beyond ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because without that, we don't have any, like, we don't have the curiosity to imagine what's beyond the next vista, or to write the next great book, right? I just finished watching I watched Dune, the second movie.
Amazing,
I'd never seen it before. I watched it this weekend, and I mean, I'm a big fan of the book. I already knew. I didn't have to watch it immediately because I've read the book since I was 12 years old. So I know how it ends, but like that kind of imagination that goes into something like that, or Star Wars, that's the you know what the real tragedy of Star Wars is that, like, Kathleen Kennedy and the rest of these feminists and these wokesies shit all over what was one of the best franchises, the most imaginative franchises in the world, and they've just basically shit all over it. They shit all over imagination. That's what pisses me off the most about it. But we need magic. We need magical thinking, so that and in measured doses, and understanding that there's a separation between fantasy and reality, right? But we need that magical thinking so that we can write good imaginative comic books, or stories, so that we're good storytellers, so that that's really what the human species is about storytelling, right?
Yep.
And so we can't have that unless we have at least some sense of magic. And I think that's one of the reasons why people are so fucking depressed right now, is because there's no sense of magic anymore. There's no frontiers to explore. There's no optimism there. There's no, hey, what if,
It's like the Truman Show. They take away all opportunity.
Yeah. Star Wars is most definitely dead. And I don't think that's a good thing. However, I want to go see Alien Romulus, and I hope that's please don't suck. Please don't suck. Please don't suck. Yeah. I'm cautiously optimistic about Alien Romulus. I also want to see there's another movie that's coming out soon. Whenever I see like old franchises, I just know they're gonna fuck them up somehow.
They always do.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Mad Max didn't get fucked up.
From the latest I've heard is that the Warhammer 40,000 movie is off the table now, because they really wanted to come in and gatekeep it, and they really wanted to fuck it up, and Henry Cavill wouldn't let them do so.
Okay, well.
But at least he's on the wall there watching it. But yeah, everybody likes his new studio. Wait, oh man, you guys should have seen the studio when we were here on Thursday. Pull this out. When it gets dark here, the Rio is right here, and let's see where Caesar's is right there. the Ferris wheel's right behind me.
I could pan one of the cameras and open up the windows.
Well, you know what we should do? I think on Thursday's show, we should go do like a live stream, like a Instagram live from the deck out here. We have a wraparound deck that goes all the way around this whole thing. And then Trump Towers is right over here. That's where we should start it. We should start it from Trump. Yeah, Gladiator looks like a piece of shit. Sorry, it does. It looks bad. Looks really bad. Which is another, cry and shame. Let's see. Hey, Rollo, have you seen Richard Reeves using your talking points on Diary of a CEO? He is.
Oh, shit.
Can somebody link that to me? Sam Bada is in the chat. Sam, if you can dig that up for me, I'd love to see what he was talking about. I don't think he's talking shit. I actually got along pretty well with Rich. Red Pill needs optimism and positive vibe. This space needs some Riz. Yeah, which is what we're trying to do. I also, here we are at the end. I want to point this out. You can have a successful relationship and still be Red Pill. You can be married and still be Red Pill. All right. In fact, I would say if you're hoping to ever have a successful relationship, you have to. It's incumbent upon you. Once you get into marriage, it doesn't even have to be marriage. If you get into a long-term commitment, the margin for error is not as is over the top compared to you being single. So if you are of the Rio's not getting bulldozed. You're thinking of the what's the one that's getting pulled down?
The Flamingo.
That's the Flamingo that's going down soon.
Or is it Tropicana?
The Tropicana? It's either one of those two.
Yeah, the Tropicana is the one getting knocked down.
Tropicana.
But the Circa, the one that's turning to Hard Rock?
Yeah. It's either the Tropicana or the Flamingo. One of those. It's not the Rio. The Rio is most definitely not going down. I'm looking at the Rio right now. It's not going anywhere. But yeah, oh shit. Oh, okay. Thank you, Sam. I see it now. Thank you for that. Oh, so he was talking the fall of men explained by an expert. I would not say Richard Reeves is an expert on the fall of men, but how do these motherfuckers get this? Where's this? What is the, let's see if I can grab this.
I sent you the whole podcast.
I see it here. Diary of a CEO. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. So it's an acronym. I was like, what is okay. Wow. 6.81 million subscribers. Well, you could have done better. Got me on. Let's see what else is here. Oh, wow. He's doing his hair different. He's got some style finally. Maybe I'm rubbing off on him. I don't know. Oh, so his clips channel is at 689,000 and his main is like 6.81. Damn. How have I never heard of this guy before? Diary of a CEO. Okay. Well, considering I like Richard Reeves, don't get me wrong, but he is very super liberal and he will analyze the problem, right? But he'll get the diagnosis wrong. Well, he gets the diagnosis right, but he gets the prescription wrong. And at some point we're going to have to realize that the war of the sexes, the differences between men and women is actually a zero-sum game. You have to disadvantage one to advantage the other. And you know how I know that is because that's what women have been doing really since the late 60s, since the Gloria Steinem, Betty Friedan, militant feminism. In fact, that's literally part of their literature. Men must be actively disadvantaged for women to achieve equality. That was actually a quote from that. So if you think that you're going to find some sort of gender parity, and first of all, I don't think gender parity exists. Equality is a false god. But the very fact that he likes to think, I like Rich, don't get me wrong. Like I said, he gets the diagnosis right. I think he just gets the prescription wrong. The prescription for him is basically the same prescription feminists have had. It's not unlike a lot of MRAs, like the Voice for Men kind of thing, where it's like they essentially get the diagnosis correct, but the prescription is to become more perfected feminists, right? They want that. Well, the ladies couldn't get feminism right, so we're going to have to do it ourselves. It's like, no, that's completely wrong-headed. So, all right, I'm going to have to go watch those now. Jeez. Oh, you know what? One thing that I wanted to point out, I put this in earlier. I'm not going to replay it, but there was one of the videos I put out was this one lady who was just explaining why it is that 70+% of women file for divorce. And she was saying that it's primarily because of hormonal imbalances. It was chemical rather than it's a third explanation. Like if you ask Destiny, why do you think it is? I mean, statistically, it's true. 70% of women, if not more, file for divorce than men, right? So what's the reason? You ask Destiny, he'll say it's because men don't help out around the house and they don't change the diapers and the babies, and they're not living up to their end of the bargain, which is like complete gender parity and equality in the house, right? Yeah. That's number one. The other one, is the more extreme sort of red pill. I don't even say it's red pill, but the more extreme black pill side of it, which is they want to cash out. It's cash and prizes, right? Get out of the marriage while you're still hot enough to find another man, and you've got child support and everything else, which there's a lot of statistics that show that too. One thing I didn't consider is what this lady was talking about, which is when you think about it, the average age of first divorce for people is 42 years old, 41, 42 years old. And that's why we started doing the MOA Reignite group with the guys, 45 to 65, because that's the average age of first divorce for guys. And it's all because for women, it's 41. For men, it would be 45 or somewhere around there. And that's puts men at a risk of suicide that is 8 times higher, right? And I thought about that and I go, that's because they want to talk about the first divorce. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So if you look at a woman who is like, has chock full of, for the better part of her life, has been chock full of antidepressants, hormonal birth control, God knows whatever else. Like she was saying, that they just want to prescribe something for that. And she thinks her problems are anything but herself. Everything is externalized. And she wants to get a divorce. She wants to divorce her husband, and she can't even understand why she would want to divorce the good guy who's like always been there, loyal, blah, blah, blah. Right. The third possibility is it's a chemical imbalance that enough women by that age are either like feel like they're trapped or whatever. Then you add to that the chemical imbalance that goes along with that, and that's a recipe for divorce. So that's something I really think I need to explore a little bit more, because that could be, if it's not the cause, it's certainly a factor in the cause. So I thought that was interesting. I that's something people say, oh, there's nothing new in the red pill. That's fucking new. Yeah, that's new. That's something I wasn't aware of. So there you go. What is this? You put a lot of flames in there, so I had to look at this. Rollo, your thumb of today is my ex. I sent it to you over IG. Say hi. Oh, you did? You sent it to me over IG. This chick? Oh, this is your ex? No. Well, she has her face covered, so I guess I'm off the hook, right? I just wanted to use it because I had my book in it. Is she your ex because she read the book? I'm sorry. All right, I got to get out of here. So today, let's see, Thursday, we will have Sterling Cooper in here for Access Vegas. That'll, I think, more than account for a midweek show. And so we're going to tighten up the audio in here a little bit more. Yep. We're not on the main board right now. We're on the little board right now. That's why it sounds better. But we're going to throw some compressors on there. I talked to the guy who's the tech for Danza Project, and he really helped me out with the Lando. I talked to Lando from the Danza Project, and he's an audio video technician guy. And so we're going to put some compressors on. We got noise gates all set up. So we're going to do things a little bit different audio wise for the next show. Kyle and I will figure that out first. Yeah. We're now a 2-man show. It's Rollo, and it's the Rollo and Kyle show, because we're the only somebody's got to do it. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope this has been informational to everybody. Let's see, what else do I have coming up? Think Sterling Cooper is it. I will probably, oh God, okay, I can't. I'm probably going to have Tiffany Fox, Pacino Fox. You should hyphenate her name. Pacino. Tiffany is now Tiffany Pacino Fox. If I can get Torsha in here at some point, I really want to get Tori out here. But I will probably be doing a standalone show with Tiffany at some point. We'll ask her about her new renewed interest in doing pornography again. Which, hey, let your freak flag fly. I'm good with it. All right, guys. I will see you guys later. And you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Ready for it. Here we go. See you. You do it.
First time, but I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my first time. What do you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules now in the game. I've got some new tools. Please do the same. Time came by when over like a matchbox stereo. Time to keep my thoughts now and let it go.
Oh, they got it.
Bound to keep me up all night.
What did you do? I can't.
But maybe we can fuck
That's fine. I'll flip
again. And maybe things are different. Try to tell baby one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again. Then maybe things are different. Try to tell baby one more again. Maybe you could have the best in my life. The best in my life. Now we're fucking in the bathroom, tearing up everywhere while I got your hair. While you're screaming my name. She was swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and stuffing with her head like she's Claudia Kelly. So baby, come run me, ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song, getting messy, working up and down on your body. Run me, ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song on your body. Baby, we'll get down to it all night. But maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Try to tell baby one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things are different. Try to tell baby one more again.
Preceding podcast has been a production of the Rational Male and Red One Studios, Las Vegas, Nevada. All rights reserved. Registered trademark 2021. Don't steal Kyle stuff.